this case. 26 of those are from Georgia. She's giving the government and the plaintiffs until midnight tomorrow to file some more briefs. Crucially, the plaintiffs will have to disclose the names of their clients. Up till now, they have been withholding the names of these international students. The issue at hand is whether these students can continue their educations. Immigration attorney Charles Cook says,
"We require that ICE follow the law, just as ICE requires that our clients follow the law."
Now, the government argues that no real harm has been done to these students and that the case is speculative, and ruling in favor, they told the judge, could interfere with the rights of the executive branch to control immigration. They say the schools are responsible for dealing with this. Again, the judge is expected to rule tomorrow. This is a temporary restraining order, and Judge Calvert has set a hearing for next Thursday at 11 a.m. to consider a permanent injunction. Reporting live at federal court in Atlanta, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. And it might be a good day to take that lunch outdoors. It's beautiful, sunny skies, nice this afternoon, headed for a high of 76, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She'll have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast. That does include Easter Sunday. That comes your way at 12:05. Happening right now, Channel 2 Action News reporting there is a heavy police presence at a community in Cartersville. SWAT vehicles are on scene, and this looks to be in a townhome community at Iron Belt Road. We'll bring you more on this developing story as we get it. A welfare check turns deadly in Paulding County. A deputy shot the man who opened fire is dead.
Deputies were called to a home on Hemlock Glen in the Brookside subdivision to do a welfare check. When they approached the home, they found a man inside.
He pulled a weapon and shot one of our deputies, wounding him.
Sheriff Ashley Henson says other deputies returned fire, killing the man. The deputy was transported to the hospital in stable condition and is expected to be okay. Henson says this was an isolated incident.
No threat to the area. We've contacted the GBI per standard procedure, and they'll be coming in to conduct the investigation into the deputy-involved shooting.
Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
All right, this is new at noon. The South Fulton Police Department mourning the loss of an officer killed in the line of duty this week. Lieutenant Alio Garcia was driving his department vehicle at Flat Shoals Road when another vehicle veered into his lane and hit him head on. Police Chief Keith Meadows says it's a difficult time for the department.
In the 39 years I've been doing this job, I've lost a lot of friends in the line of duty. And certainly none hits harder than this one to me.
Police identify the woman who hit Lieutenant Garcia as 31-year-old Centauria McLean. She's in critical condition. In Barrow County, the father accused of giving his son access to the rifle used in that deadly Appalachia High School attack is in court later today looking for a change of venue.
Colin Gray's case appears to be only the second nationwide where the parent of an accused mass shooter faced similar charges for the attack itself.
It's a novel issue here in Georgia, so this will set the stage for how future cases are handled here.
WSB senior legal analyst Ron Carlson says Gray's case follows a pattern of asking to move a trial because potential local jurors have been prejudiced by publicity and their own knowledge of the crime.
That's why a fair number of legal observers predict this might well bring about a change of venue.
Accused Appalachia High shooter Colt Gray is also asking to move his murder trial from Barrow County. Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
Well, a man's behind bars this noon following a domestic dispute at the Buc-ee's in Calhoun this morning. That fight escalated to shots being fired at officers. Calhoun police say they responded to the store on Union Grove Road and tried to arrest the man. That's when he took off on foot. He fired shots at officers who were chasing him, carjacked a vehicle in the Buc-ee's parking lot, and then took off down I-75. He was later arrested in Whitfield County. No officers were injured in that incident. The Golden Corral restaurant in Cumming, it's going to be closed until further notice following a fire this morning. Division Fire Chief Jason Shivers with Forsyth County Fire.
The fire is under investigation, but all indications are that it was totally accidental. There was work being done on the roof of the building.
He says the building was evacuated when firefighters arrived on scene. No injuries reported. More than 148,000 Ford vehicles are under recall this afternoon. There's a problem with the brakes. A fluid leak could reduce braking performance. This recall involves certain 2017 and 2018 Ford F-150s, Expeditions, and Lincoln Navigator models. Ford also recalling some 2025 Explorer vehicles because of an issue with the powertrain control. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow right now is down 504 at 39,164. So the Dow's down more than a full percent. NASDAQ is also down. The S&P is in positive territory, but just slightly. Time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams has a look at the roads.
Watching brake lights on the west side outer loop 285 southbound. You stack up just south of South Cobb Drive, I should say, for the ride down to I-20, the West Freeway. Most of that slowing in the right lanes, trying to make that merge onto I-20 westbound. In Gwinnett County, debris cleared out of the roadway in Norcross, 85 northbound. Jimmy Carter Carter Boulevard, exit 99. Tapping the brakes southbound, leaving Pleasant Hill to Beaver Ruin. And we're watching that construction out in Mableton. It's on Highway 78, Veterans Memorial Highway westbound at Floyd Road. A couple of right lanes are blocked there. No need for an alternate. Just allow for a few extra minutes there to get through that intersection. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Now your 5-day forecast sponsored by Shoemake, the official air conditioning of Atlanta.
Mostly sunny through the afternoon, high 76. That's on par for the average high for today. Lows tonight in the upper 40s, low 50s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, a touch breezy, high 84. Wind gusts as high as 25 miles per hour. Saturday, partly cloudy, morning low 60, afternoon high 86. Easter Sunday, morning low 62, afternoon high 87 with a partly to mostly cloudy sky. Isolated rain showers return on Monday, high 82.
We'll have more news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
My fellow Americans, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, always happy to have you. Text the word ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777 to get the show notes, the live stream, the podcast, the social media links. Be here tomorrow, please. Those of you around the nation, it's going to be different radio. The Good Friday show is tomorrow. I'll be replaying a conversation I had with the late Tim Keller tomorrow for Good Friday, the anniversary of the most important weekend in human history. Right now, though, we've got to begin with hills to die on. When I was a conservative activist running redstate.com, it dawned on me over time as we charged up every hill and lost every fight, that if you are charging up every hill and losing every fight, if every hill becomes a hill to die on, you know what you're doing? You're dying. You're dead. You're constantly dead. You're never alive. And I am just baffled by the Democrats and their hills to die on. 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago, on October 7th, 2023, Hamas invaded Israel using paragliders. They killed 2,000 Israelis, and they took several hundred Israeli hostages, some of whom were American citizens who were from the United States, who lived in the United States, who happened to be in Israel at the time with their families, and Hamas took them hostage, and not a single Democrat in the United States Congress went to Gaza to get back the American hostages, but damned if they won't go to El Salvador to get back an illegal alien gangbanger who beat up his wife, according to court records. They're willing to go to El Salvador to get a guy back who is credibly accused of spousal abuse, is credibly accused of being a member of a gang, and is unquestionably an illegal alien. They would not go to Gaza to get their own Americans back, but they will go to El Salvador to get an illegal alien back. And guess what happens if he comes back? He gets deported again. Now listen, I want this out there. I have qualms with the way it was handled. It was an administrative error that sent him there. They should not have sent him to a detainment facility without a process to thereby get out of the detainment facility, because all he was an illegal alien. He wasn't convicted of a crime in this country. He wasn't even convicted of being an illegal alien. We know he was. And if he had been convicted of that as a crime, it wouldn't have been treated as a felony worth incarcerating him. He should have been deported. I do have a moral problem with the deportation of someone to a detainment facility by which there appears to be no process to get him out of it, let alone ignoring a court order that the Trump administration says was an administrative error. But it's not my hill to die on. The guy shouldn't have been in the country. And now we know that the woman he married filed a restraining order against him for violence. He's not a good dude. The fact that the Democrats would never go to Gaza to get Americans out of Hamas's care, but they'll go to El Salvador to get an illegal alien alleged gangbanger, and the documentary evidence there is pretty good. The Democrats are saying, he's not an MS-13. You can't believe that. Well, I mean, he's got the markings. He was with other MS-13 members. He was detained in Tennessee for human trafficking concerns. All of these things, he's not a good guy, and yet they're not willing to go to Gaza to rescue good American citizens still held hostage, and they will go to El Salvador to get a gangbanger who beat his wife. This is CNN's Harry Hinton.
Deport all undocumented immigrants. Voters favoring the government trying to deport all 11 million of them. Back in 2016, just 38% of voters wanted the government to try to deport all 11 million undocumented immigrants. Compared to where we are in 2025, 56%, the majority. The American people have come a long way on this issue, much closer to Donald Trump, and I think that's a big part of the reason why Americans are increasingly saying the country is on the right track when it comes to immigration policy, and why Donald Trump's net approval rating on that issue is in the positive.
Wait. A majority of Americans think that the immigration situation of this country is improved. There was a massive reversal of fortunes. 56% of Americans support the deportation of all undocumented immigrants. That's up from 38% in 2016. Do you know what happened to get that rise? It wasn't the election of Donald Trump. It was the election of Joe Biden, who decided to flood the borders with illegal aliens. Around the country has been overwhelmed with illegal aliens. And crime has gone up in communities where illegal aliens have populated. Disease has grown up it's not racism to say that, people. It's the fact. The spread of tuberculosis, the spread of measles, the spread of other infectious diseases has gone up and increased healthcare costs in those communities. Local community healthcare centers have been overwhelmed. Crime has gone up in these areas. That's just a fact. It may be an inconvenient fact to you, but the same left that doesn't want to acknowledge those facts is the left that doesn't want to acknowledge this Garcia guy in El Salvador shouldn't have been in the country in the first place. And where did we send him? His home country. This is their hill to die on. Elizabeth Warren went on a tirade. This is her on Morning Joe on MSNBC.
Would like to ask about these deportations. We were just watching the White House continue to double down on this one specific case, Mr. Abrego Garcia, and to an extent really trying to label him a terrorist. But all the others are legally questionable as well. Right. Your thoughts?
But the point is, why are they doing this?
Right.
And the answer is they want to have the American people say it's okay to just disappear people.
Right.
And somehow they think if they can make up lies about him, if they can do whatever they want, then the answer will be the American people will settle for this. We do not disappear people in the United States. Because here's the thing. If they can disappear Mr. Abrego Garcia, then they can disappear you.
No, they can't. They cannot disappear. He's an illegal alien, and he didn't disappear. We know exactly where he is. Let me throw some New Testament at Elizabeth Warren. You know, Paul got imprisoned, the Apostle Paul. And when the jailer came to him, the Apostle Paul says, I'm a Roman citizen. Changed everything immediately. Roman citizens couldn't be beaten and treated like they had the Apostle Paul, and the jailer was prepared to commit suicide. And Paul said no, and people converted because a Roman citizenship of Rome meant something in the Roman Empire, and it's the same thing here. Citizenship of the United States means something. When you come to this country, we tend to give you the rights of American citizens. Otherwise, you can't vote except in San Francisco. You are treated well in this country. But American citizenship means something. In America, you can't disappear an American citizen. You can't do it. And if the President of the United States tried to export an American citizen to a detainment facility in El Salvador, the court said no, it would mean something serious. And he would have to take affirmative steps to bring you home because you're an American citizen. We released an arms dealer, a merchant of death, to bring home a lesbian WNBA player. We sent a merchant of death to Russia to get back a lesbian who had drugs on her person in Russia, who played in the WNBA, who, by the way, has a renewed appreciation and patriotism and love for the United States of America. God bless her. We move heaven and earth to get citizens home. You know, we have gone to war with countries because of their treatment of American citizens. The idea that Donald Trump can disappear an American citizen is fatuous. It's nonsense. It's simply not true. And this guy isn't disappeared. He's not disappeared. We know exactly where he is, in El Salvador. The level of hysteria from the Democrats, this is, what's his name, Torre on MSNBC.
And what I think about here is that we should be striving for clarity when it comes to the fact that this is not merely deportation, but deportation to a dictator's terrorist holding facility.
Yeah.
Gulag is what we've been calling it today, rightfully, and worse.
A gulag, and we sent an El Salvadoran back to El Salvador. Yeah, I don't think he should be in a detainment facility without a provision to get him out of there. He has not been found guilty of a crime in the United States, and we as a nation should not stoop that way. But this is not my hill to die on, nor is it yours. It's the Democrats' hill to die on, and they've chosen to die on this hill. And the American people, I suspect, are going to crucify him on it when they would not go to Gaza to get American citizens held by Hamas. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't lift a finger. There was no peace trip. There was no congressional delegation. There was no gathering of Democrats. But you take an illegal alien whose wife filed a restraining order against him with credible ties to MS-13, and you put him in a detention facility in his home country, and the Democrats will move heaven and earth to get that guy back here for what? So he can be deported again somewhere else. Republicans, don't make light of the due process concerns. I understand it's stand by our man. Trump did this. I get that. Don't make light of the due process concerns, because they are real. But also, he'd get deported anyway. Don't be dismissive of the administrative error, and you should be a little concerned that administrative error can be made to send someone to a detainment facility to be locked up for the crime of being an illegal alien. He was never found guilty of anything else. But Democrats, really, this is your hill to die on? You won't go to Gaza, but you'll go to El Salvador? If the guy comes back here, he's going to be deported. So you want to bring him back for what? For a habeas proceeding? For a due process proceeding? So that he can be... This is so dumb. I can't get worked up about this. I have voiced my due process concerns. I want those due process concerns on the record. But I just keep coming back to, so what? He's going to go back to El Salvador if he comes here. He's an illegal alien. He had time to get out of the country. What did Donald Trump do after he was elected? He said, I'm going to round all the illegal aliens up and send them home, and a whole lot of them packed up and left. They self-deported. And you know what's happening right now? A whole lot of illegal aliens are self-deporting because of what's happened to Garcia. Send a message through Garcia to the rest of the illegal immigrants. Self-deport now or your time is coming to go. Due process concerns stated, this guy being placed where he is one of the great deterrents to illegal immigration in the United States of America. He's serving a role for this country being there. He's not disappeared. We know where he is. And the fact that the Democrats can go to El Salvador to try to get him out, but never bothered in Gaza, that should be a big red flag for you guys, that the Democrats have not learned any lessons from 2024. Their priorities continue to be screwed up. When they won't defend American citizens, but they'll defend an illegal alien with credible ties to a violent gang whose wife filed a restraining order against him, the whole thing is screwed up. If the Democrats want to be defined by their help of illegal aliens and non-American citizens, that's fine. Remember the ad campaign? Therefore, they, them, Donald Trump's for you. Therefore, they, them, and illegal aliens, Donald Trump's for you, American citizens. The ad campaign writes itself. Bottom line here for all of you, but it's the right, it's the Constitution, it's due process. He should be there. You should let him out. At the end of the day, politics matters greatly. And if you Democrats can't understand that you may think you're on the righteous side of history, and the voters, the majority of them, think you're not. And if you're that worked up about an illegal alien in his home country who you want to bring back here to be deported again, why were you not worked up enough to go to Gaza?
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1221 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Seeing some delays through Marietta 75 north. You're on and off the brakes from South Marietta Parkway for the ride up to Chastain Road in Kennesaw. Hero paced all lanes to clear debris in Gwinnett 85 northbound up around Jimmy Carter, exit 99. All lanes back open there. And you got that construction on Veterans Memorial Highway out in Mableton westbound at Floyd Road. A couple of right lanes knocked out there. It's causing some delays through the lunch hour. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off. And for UPS shipping, add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It pays to have the WSB radio app. Download it today and get ready for the Blitz.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. 5 chances every weekday to win $1,000.
Well, what a blessing that is. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate that.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
From 95.5 WSB begins Monday, April 21st.
On 95.5 WSB. Download the WSB radio app now.
When it's time to replace your windows, make sure you have options and get to choose the energy-efficient window that is right for your home, your style, and your budget. Dave Baker here for the only window company I recommend, Nelson Exteriors. With Nelson, you're in charge. Choose from many top-rated window manufacturers like Anderson and MI, all backed by Nelson's worry-free lifetime labor warranty. For your replacement windows, pick the company that's more picky than you. Google Nelson Exteriors.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Right now, USDA Choice Bone-In Ribeye Roast is on sale for only $8.97 a pound with your digital coupon. Limit 2. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are open now for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of Atlanta. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of Atlanta. Enter now at overheaddooratlanta.com. You can't win if you don't enter. Go to overheaddooratlanta.com.
This is Scott Slade, and this is my health story. I get a checkup every year. In last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number of my lab work. I'll never forget his words, "I want somebody looking over my shoulder on this." Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options and optimism for a good outcome. When we're talking about our health, we shouldn't be shy. I think it's important to talk about what can kill you or rob you of your quality of life. Heart disease is still the nation's #1 killer. And what I think should be right up there with it, procrastination. We all need expert eyes looking us over every so often to spot problems while we still have options to deal with them. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the best CT imaging in the Southeast with 98% accuracy and low radiation, like flying in an airplane. They can detect calcium levels in your arteries and most cancers at the earliest stage. And virtual imaging can scan your brain to see if you're in danger of a tumor, stroke, or even dementia. I am living proof that preventive medicine can save lives. So don't put this off, especially with this offer from Virtual Imaging. For a limited time, they're offering you and your spouse a free heart scan. Yes, free, with a few minimum requirements. I've done it. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now while you still have options.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects, now we need partners like you. Go to firstlibertyga.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Want to be on the show? Come on, be on the show. Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
Somebody up at the North American Mission Board, tell George McCallum I said happy birthday. Y'all should all tell him happy birthday. I'll never see that guy anymore since he moved out of Macon. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be happy to have you on the program. I got a postcard. I knew there was something up when it came from Minnesota. On the front side of it is a picture of Adolf Hitler on a horse. Stig Bugelhalter, it says, stirrup holders, politicians, financiers, and business tycoons who backed and enabled Hitler's rise to power, thinking they could keep him in check. On the back it says, Mr. Erickson, you are a personality with a large platform who used it to speak the truth until it became socially and financially inconvenient. You must see what you have enabled, and your buried conservative principles must be tweaking you a bit. It is not too late to find courage to take a principled stand and to speak your truth again. Ellen Thomas. Well, dear Ellen, in Minneapolis, St. Paul, I'm assuming it is St. Paul because she does STPMN. I'm assuming it's St. Paul. Dear Ellen, I don't have my truth, Ellen. That's a big tip off you're a lib because I have the truth. But I for the record, I want you MAGA types who send me hate mail that I'm not sufficiently pro-Trump to know that Ellen Thomas believes I've gone MAGA because it's in my financial interest to do so. Can't please all the people any of the time. Heck, I can't please half the people half the time. But I'm still here. Poor Ellen. I listen, I appreciate that she's got to be an elderly woman to take the time to send a handwritten postcard. God bless her for doing that. Ellen, I speak the truth. Not your truth, not my truth. I speak the truth. And sometimes it favors Trump and sometimes it doesn't, and I'm perfectly happy to criticize him. You should tune in on a regular basis. I might delight and surprise you. Oh, I'll make you mad too, Ellen. But that's okay because it's just what I do. Just for the record, though, I want everybody to know that I am getting hate mail literally in the mail from progressives that I have sold out to put Hitler in power. The brokenness of the political left that sees this as the rise of Adolf Hitler. But you know what? It made it through the mail. If Ellen was really concerned about Donald Trump being Hitler, I don't know that she would have written a handwritten postcard from herself to me and delivered it into the United States Postal Service, which is presided over by the President of the United States per the Constitution and his appointed Postmaster General. It's amazing how many people are going to throw Hitler out and ignore it. Meanwhile, in Pennsylvania, the man who tried to burn up the governor of Pennsylvania and his family in their house turns out to be a socialist anti-Semite.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. We have just now learned the name of the deputy who was shot this morning in Paulding County. 24-year-old Bryce Maddock. He is in the hospital this afternoon. The man who shot him was killed. The deputy was conducting a welfare check at a house on Hemlock Glen in the Brookside subdivision when this happened.
And when they made contact with that individual in the home, he pulled a weapon and shot one of our deputies, wounding him, and the other deputies fired back.
That is Sheriff Ashley Henson. He says the suspect was killed. Deputy Maddock, as we said, was taken to the hospital and is in stable condition. He's expected to be okay. The GBI is now investigating. Your weather for today, beautiful. Sunny skies, nice and warm. Afternoon highs around 76. We'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast straight ahead. Happening now, Channel 2 Action News reports there's a heavy police presence in a community in Cartersville. SWAT vehicles are on the scene. It looks to be at a townhome community on Iron Belt Road. We'll bring you more on this developing story as we get it. A Hart County man's indicted on human trafficking and child exploitation charges after traveling to Fulton County to meet up with a 16-year-old girl that he'd met online. Investigators say 26-year-old Reed Cohen Skelton picked up the teenager in Fulton County, then allegedly rented a hotel room and engaged in sex with that teenager. He's also accused of having digital images of the encounter. He was taken into custody by the GBI. He is charged with 2 counts of trafficking, 1 count of sexual exploitation of a child. A federal judge says she intends to rule soon on the status of canceled student visas, a lawsuit alleging that ICE unlawfully used the student and exchange visitor information system to strip students of their legal status despite their continued compliance with visa terms. The judge today, Victoria Calver, saying she's inclined to rule in favor of the plaintiffs who are asking for a temporary restraining order. The judge has set a hearing on an injunction for next Thursday. It's 12:32.
Storm season is bearing down on us, and that means power outage season is here too. Dave Baker here for Brightbox Electrical. Being stuck in a dark, hot home as storms start to fire up is no fun. That's why my friends at Brightbox Electrical, a Coolray company, are now offering $500 off a Generac home standby generator, and if you purchase now, you'll receive a 2-year maintenance and monitoring plan for free. So don't be left in the dark or the heat. Visit brightboxelectrical.com to schedule your appointment.
Hope. It's more than a word. It's a breakthrough in the making. At City of Hope, we're pushing the boundaries of science, targeting cancer at the molecular level, with teams of experts working together to personalize a treatment plan right down to your DNA with unprecedented speed, making every second count, with appointments in as little as 24 hours. City of Hope, advancing cancer care at life-saving speed. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
Hi, I'm David Nicholas, financial advisor and president of Nicholas Wealth Management. It's hard to imagine, but one day in retirement, your income will stop. You may have been working for 30 or 40 years, but now you'll have to depend on the money you've saved for the next 30 years. How do you know if you've saved enough? What does it mean to spend confidently in retirement? One of the worst things that you can do is get to retirement and not know how much income your investments can produce. At Nicholas Wealth, we created a plan that will show you what your investments can potentially generate in dividends, interest, and growth in retirement. We call this our Spend Confidently plan. When's the best time to turn on Social Security? What are some of the best dividend-paying stocks available? Our CPAs and CFPs will show you what your income number is and how a diversified portfolio of income-producing investments could potentially provide you consistent monthly income. Our Retire Ready Income Report, it's a $1,000 value. We'll provide it completely complimentary if you've saved more than $250,000 for retirement and you give us a call in the next 10 minutes. Number to call is 404-890-5606. That's 404-890-5606, or you can go to nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and the needs of any person. This is a paid advertisement.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather, Alex Williams.
And right now, we had all lanes blocked once again in Gwinnett. I think they finally cleared up that debris that was 85 northbound in Norcross up around Jimmy Carter Boulevard, exit 99. So the brake lights back at I-285 should start to dissipate here very soon. If you're traveling downtown this lunch hour, you're seeing some delays. 75-85 northbound leaving the airport, University Avenue, up past Freedom Parkway. Southbound, a little slow from 17th Street down to Williams Street. And you got that right lane construction in DeKalb County, I-20 eastbound between Wesley Chapel Road and Panola Road. Use caution as you head out to the mall at Stonecrest. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Sunny skies today, staying mild, high 76.
We'll have more news at 1 o'clock, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Because the truth is what matters. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Hello, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I'd be happy to have you. Don't forget to text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Now, let me explain tomorrow so that you're not completely caught off guard when you tune in tomorrow. I try not to talk about the news headlines on this particular day because it is historically considered, even by secular scholars, the most important weekend in human history. Yeah, there was a survey done of Harvard, of Ivy League historians. It wasn't just Harvard, but it was led by Harvard a number of years ago, and they asked from the history faculties of the Ivy League colleges and other noted historians, what were the most important events in human history. Alexander conquering the known world was number 2. Julius Caesar crossing the Rubicon was number 3. William the Conqueror conquering Britain was, I think, number 5. Number 4 was the Islamic conquests. Number 1 was the execution of a carpenter in Jerusalem. That was Ivy League history professors. Oxford University did a similar survey back in the 1980s, and number 1 was Alexander conquering the known world. Number 2 was the execution of a Jewish carpenter. The University of Beijing did a similar history, and it was actually more Eastern-centric. Number 1 was actually the division of the world between Spain and Portugal in the 1500s. And number 2 was the discovery of Japan by the Dutch. That was chronicled in the show Shogun. Number 3 was the building of the Great Wall of China. Number 4 was, I forget, but number 5 was the execution of a carpenter in Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. Even in the East, they listed that one. And given the significance of that history, I like to pause on Good Friday and focus on higher-ordered topics. Also, the year he died, Tim Keller, probably the most preeminent theologian of the early 21st century, was a friend of mine and had a book come out, and I interviewed him. It was a pretty lengthy interview, and so I will replay my interview with him. It was about Easter, so we did it at Easter, so it'll be aired tomorrow. Now, I will tell you this. If there's big news, though, I feel obligated to scrap everything I want to talk about whenever there's big news headlines and talk about those big news headlines. And so if something comes up tomorrow, you will get more politics than not. But it is a Friday, a holiday weekend. Famous last words, what could happen? But, I mean, something could happen. And if so, those things will get covered. Now, there are 2 things I want to talk about right now, and one of which may aggravate some of you. I don't mean to aggravate you, but we need to talk about the Harvard situation just a little bit. I want to. So I'm okay with the government cutting funding to Harvard. I don't know that with $35 trillion in debt, we need to be funding even these major research projects. And I do understand the public-private partnerships for academic research related to engineering, medicine, biotechnology, things like that. It does pay dividends for the whole country. Look at the space program and how many things in commercial use these days are originated from our quest to get men to the moon. Ballpoint pens, AstroTurf, all sorts of things came out of that quest to get men to the moon. I do think there's something to be said for there, but when we've got $35 trillion in debt, I don't think any of these institutions are entitled to it, particularly with the rise of anti-Semitism on campus. But I want to go on the record, and I want to object to the Trump administration pursuing the rejection of Harvard's 501c3 status. Now, I understand why. Here's the Wall Street Journal. The Trump administration has requested the Internal Revenue Service start the process of revoking Harvard's tax-exempt status. Officials at the Treasury Department asked the IRS's acting chief legal counsel, Andrew DeMello, to move ahead with the plan to revoke Harvard's key status, which lets donors get tax deductions for contributions and keep the university from paying taxes on any net earnings. Harvard is exempt from federal income taxes as it operates as a 501c3 educational institution. Now, Bob Jones had its tax-exempt status revoked by the Supreme Court in 1983 on a very specific ground, and that is that they racially discriminated against black students. And the Supreme Court reasoned that given this nation's history, the Civil War, and the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, that racial segregation at this time is something that must be at all costs discouraged. And so Bob Jones was very specifically related to racial discrimination. Now, there is undeniable anti-Semitism at Harvard. And so I am sympathetic to the discrimination Jewish students on these campuses have seen. But before we go down this road, have you considered that if the door is open to further rejections of 501c3 status, they're coming for the Christians next? And don't pull the BS of, well, they're going to do it anyway. No, they've tried. They've tried to do it in the past, and it's been rejected thoroughly. Even the Obama administration, which was even more hostile to people of faith than Joe Biden, even the Obama administration did not attempt to reject the 501c3 status of religious educational institutions. Now, they tried to force Hillsdale College, which takes no federal funding, to adhere to federal guidelines on the basis of being a 501c3 educational institution, and they were rejected by the courts. So first of all, the legal argument I don't think is sound, but secondly, I see directly where this heads. The Trump administration is setting a precedent that if they are successful in getting the courts to go along with this, it will be wielded against Christians. And I think that is a very dangerous path for them to take. There is precedence with Bob Jones and racial discrimination, but if you read the Bob Jones case, it was very specific to the Supreme Court at that time that race, given this country's history, is something very unique, and racial discrimination cannot be tolerated in this country, given what happened. It's a dangerous, dangerous fight that if they're successful, will destroy Christian nonprofit educational institutions in this country. And you got to think without emotion here and think rationally on this. And it concerns me. Beyond that, though, anything we can do to root out anti-Semitism is significant and must be done. The arsonist who burned down the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania with Josh Shapiro and his family in it did it because of Passover and anti-Semitism. Now, side note here. Actually, there's some breaking news I need to get to. I'm sorry. This is just seeing the wires. There are reports of an active shooter at Florida State University. The university has issued an emergency alert. Reports of an active shooter near the student union. The university's alert system is advising students and staff to continue to seek shelter in place and await further instructions. Authorities have confirmed that police are on the scene. The alert emphasized the importance of locking doors, staying away from windows, and being prepared to take additional protective measures. This again happening right now, breaking news. The Florida State University Tallahassee campus is under an active shooter alert. Police are on the scene with a shooter reported at the Students Union at Florida State University. I'll keep my eye on the story as this develops and bring you the latest on this. On these other university campuses, the anti-Semitism that's on the rise in these campuses is they're harassing students, they're blocking students from access to campus, they're locking students in libraries, they're harassing students, they're taking over college campuses. So I understand the desire of the Trump administration to stamp it out and taking this hard line with the Harvard faculty and staff and with 501c3 status. I get it, and the pressure campaign may be enough. It's a dangerous road to go down, but look at the situation with the governor of Pennsylvania in his home. We've been allowing anti-Semitism to foment under the Biden administration. Joe Biden himself, when he was president, couldn't condemn anti-Semitism without also condemning Islamophobia. He could never give a bright line denunciation of anti-Semitism as it's spreading around the United States. And now this guy tried to assassinate the only Jewish governor in America with his family. In fact, the man's plans were to enter the governor's mansion, set fire to the governor's mansion, and as the governor and his family were evacuating, to attack the governor and bash in his head with a hammer. But the fire spread too quickly, and he got out of the governor's mansion. That is what we know, that the facts as presented so far from prosecutors. And the sickness here is that the left rushed to say, oh, this man, he got to be right-wing. Josh Shapiro's a Democrat. It was pretty obvious. No, Josh Shapiro is a Jewish governor. This is the start of Passover. The odds are it's an anti-Semite. No. It's got to be a Trump supporter because Shapiro is the front runner for 2028. That's what people were saying online on the left. No. It turns out by this man's own confession, he wanted to kill the governor because the governor is pro-Israel, Jewish, and it's Passover. There's this violence creeping in on the left. Look at the Luigi Mangione situation. You've got all these people coming out for Luigi Mangione saying, hey, I mean, this guy, he's a moral champion. These insurance companies are bad. To hell with that father and husband who was the CEO of the insurance company. These other guys take bullets too. The insurance companies will change. This guy thought if I kill Josh Shapiro, people will back away from Israel in this country. It's the same sort of sick logic, but the left is normalizing part of it. They're not going to be able to contain it if you go down this path. They're not going to be able to contain it. It's a dangerous game that they're playing. And meanwhile, CNN's Donnie, what's-his-name, from Ireland, is out there claiming that all the political violence in this country is on the right these days. Look at January 6th. Look at Timothy McVeigh. Yeah, look at Black Lives Matter's riots, huh? Look at the guy who attempted to assassinate Brett Kavanaugh, huh? Look at this guy, an anti-Semite of the left. He's a self-described socialist of the left. Couldn't find any of those people. CNN couldn't find either. They had to focus on the right. Do you know how many trains have been derailed in this country in the last 10 years by environmental activists on the left? It's actually significant. Doesn't get a lot of coverage. But a lot of the major train derailments out west now are environmentalists sabotaging rail lines because the trains are hauling oil and other things. But couldn't find any of those either. The left, using the mainstream media, is fabulizing violence, making it on the right, and here they come from the left, trying to assassinate the governor of Pennsylvania because he's Jewish. Again, this goes back to the Harvard situation. These universities have allowed this stuff to fester, and hell is coming for them in the form of the Trump administration, deservedly so. It's why they should cut the funding. But it's a dangerous game to go after their 501c3 status because the precedent set to say anti-Semitism is discrimination that forces the rejection of 501c3 status is going to be the same standard used to say, well, y'all don't allow gays to be faculty members because of Christian orthodoxy, and that's discrimination based on your religion, and there goes your 501c3 status. It's a dangerous game to play there. But the left is playing with fire on letting anti-Semitism spread. With banks collapsing, with the economy, well, up and down, don't look at the markets again, all that sort of stuff. Swiss America has been warning people about a secret war on cash. They're the trustless leader in precious metals. They have been for 40 years. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash from the secret war on cash, you need to read their free report. Have you all seen gold prices, by the way? It's through the roof. Gold is through the roof right now. Swiss America is rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. They can educate you on protecting your assets. Their report takes less than 15 minutes to read. It can save on your retirement and finances. You get a free copy by calling or texting 800-289-2646. The all-out war on cash, it includes digital forms of currency. It's growing and spreading. Get and read the Secret War on Cash report completely free to my listeners. All you guys have to do is mention my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, when you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. The report is completely free. Just mention Eric when you call or text my name to 800-289-2646, and Swiss America will get that report to you for free. Message and data rates may apply.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Eric Erickson Show.
1250 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Heads up if you're heading to the airport, especially the international terminal. Crash 75 southbound, Cleveland Avenue, exit 241. Looks to be in at least a center lane, starting to cause brake lights there back toward Langford Parkway. Also in DeKalb County, we got a crash. It's in the left lane, 285 southbound. The inner loop just before Covington Highway, exit 43. Police on scene right now, about to move that one off to the right. This report brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Everyone has an opinion.
We have become an idiotic nation that doesn't know how to even debate anything, so it doesn't surprise
Eric
me.
Von Hessler has an opinion.
You will still age.
And some advice.
Start doing things when you're younger. Drink a lot of water.
Eric Von Hessler, today at 3.
And you will still die.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson. You wouldn't trust Mac with a jack to fix your home's sinking foundation problem, would you? I certainly wouldn't. Serious issues need serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, so are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in, we'll work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Guys, if you're having ED or performance issues and Viagra and Cialis haven't worked, you need to come see Choice Men's Health. Give us a call or visit us online at choicemenshealth.com. Get your love life back and choose Choice Men's Health.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Beaver Direct certified, providing the highest quality vehicles at the very best prices. Every vehicle undergoes rigorous reconditioning with the industry-leading 12-month, 12,000-mile certified warranty. Visit us at beavertoyotacumming.com and see why everyone loves Beaver Direct.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
But he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings. Welcome this hour of the program brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. If you're buying a building, if you're building a building, if you need heavy equipment, if you see opportunities in this changing environment that your current lender doesn't, reach out to First Liberty. See if they can help you. They help businesses grow. FirstLibertyGA.com. All their contact info is there. There have been shots fired on Florida State's campus. This is breaking news. An active shooter has been on campus. Several people, initial reports say, have been taken to the hospital. There are no reports of casualties at this time, but this is a developing situation. There have been multiple alerts from FSU to the campus to say to shelter in place. All classes obviously canceled. It appears near the Student Union building there have been shots of gunfire. An employee who works in the Bellamy building at FSU says that building is on lockdown, and there were gunfire heard in that building. We are working right now to try to ascertain the situation and find out what exactly is going on. FSU is still in place as of 16 minutes ago. This is the latest tweet from FSU. This is an emergency message for FSU Tallahassee campus. Continue to shelter in place. Police have responded to an active shooter call at the Student Union. Persons in need of immediate emergency assistance, contact FSU ASAP. Call 911. And there do appear to be reports now coming out that 4 people have been hospitalized. This situation. We will continue to follow the situation and bring you up to speed as this is happening. Down in Tallahassee, prayers for the people down there, please. Keep all of them in mind, and we'll see what's going on there as this situation develops. The phone number here, if you want to be on the program, 877-973-7425. Speaking of colleges and college sports as well, Lee Corso is announcing his retirement from College Game Day on ESPN. He has been there for 38 college football seasons. He will make his final pick on College Game Day Saturday, August 30th, the first week of the 2025 college football season. He turns 90 in August. He has been on College Game Day since it debuted in 1987. What a remarkable legacy for Coach Corso. Just absolutely remarkable. He was the head football coach at the University of Louisville from 69 to 72, Indiana University Bloomington from 73 to 82, Northern Illinois University in 1984. It was the head coach for the Orlando Renegades of the United States Football League in 1985. Just a remarkable guy. And also, he chose to play football at Florida State University and was roommates with a guy y'all might have heard of named Burt Reynolds. Just remarkable. When we come back, we got to shift gears to Texas. The Texas legislature passing universal school choice, putting the kids ahead of the bureaucrats. We'll keep an eye on this developing story out of Florida State University as well. We will take your phone calls, 877-973-7425. And if you would please text the word data to 33777. Get the show notes. We've been doing a lot on Holy Week this week. Got a good one for you to read this morning, as well as getting the daily show notes as they come out. When we come back, though, we got to go to Texas, the great state of Texas, where they have passed universal school choice with a final push from Donald Trump to get it over the line.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard joining MediShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hi there, good afternoon. It is 1 o'clock. I'm Sabrina Cupid. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. We do have breaking news. Florida State University releasing an alert about an active shooter on the school's campus there in Tallahassee. Police are on the scene. CNN reports a suspect is in custody located near the Student Union, a nearby hospital, saying that they have treated people impacted by this shooting. A spokesperson with Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare saying the hospital cannot yet confirm the number of people in care and said the details are still unfolding. Check back. We'll continue to follow this breaking story and bring you any new information as we get it. Sunny today and nice. Afternoon highs around 76. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up in just a matter of minutes. Paulding County deputies in the hospital this afternoon following a shooting this morning during a wellness check.
Deputies were called to a home on Hemlock Glen in the Brookside subdivision to do a welfare check. When they approached the home, they found a man inside.
He pulled a weapon and shot one of our deputies, wounding him.
Sheriff Ashley Henson says other deputies returned fire and killed the man. The deputy, 24-year-old Bryce Maddock, was transported to the hospital in stable condition and is expected to be okay. Henson says this was an isolated incident.
No threat to the area. We've contacted the GBI per standard procedure, and they'll be coming in to conduct the investigation into the deputy-involved shooting.
Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
It was a wild scene at the Buc-ee's in Calhoun today. A domestic dispute got out of hand, and officers arrived on the scene. Shots ended up being fired. Calhoun police say they responded to the store on Union Grove Road, tried to arrest the man. He took off on foot, shooting at officers as they were chasing him. He carjacked a vehicle in the Buc-ee's parking lot and then took off down I-75. He was later arrested in Whitfield County. No officers were injured in that incident. A federal judge expected to rule soon on a request for a temporary restraining order on the cancellation of 133 international student visas.
Judge Victoria Calvert says that her inclination is to grant the temporary relief to the students that are a part of this case, 26 of whom are in Georgia. She's giving both sides more time to submit information, including the names of the students. The government argues no real harm has been done to these students and they could follow a procedure for reinstatement. Atlanta immigration attorney Charles Cook says,
"We require that ICE follow the law, just as ICE requires that our clients follow the law."
The judge has set a hearing for next Thursday on a permanent injunction. At federal court, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
Now your health, you might want to speed up your walk. A new study out of the UK suggests walking at a brisker pace could slash your risk of heart rhythm problems. Researchers define a brisk pace at more than 4 miles an hour. It's 102.
Termites could be eating your home right now, and you'd never know unless your termite service thoroughly inspects with the best termite technology. Dave Baker here for Breda Pest Management. When was the last time you actually saw your termite service company inside your home inspect for termite damage? Let me guess, they just walk around outside and call it a day. So how would they know? You know, only Breda uses advanced infrared cameras, microwave technology, and a moisture meter for early termite detection. That technology helps Breda to see termite activity in your walls. Does your company do that? Oh, sorry, I forgot. Your service company doesn't come inside your house, so they would never know. You can continue to pay more every year for your current service or switch your termite protection to Breda, where your rate is locked in for 10 years. Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters like termites. BREDA Pest.com.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
How
Home improvement projects can be a stressful guessing game. Trust the Plus. Painting Plus, the highest level of communication. The Plus means siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and of course, painting.
Hi, I'm Charlie, owner of Painting Plus and the Plus family of businesses. We'll make you comfortable and keep you informed with every step of your project.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus, siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
For many women in our community, support for our physical and mental health feels out of reach.
When your workday is long,
and your budget is tight,
and your village is busy,
and the road between home and help is a 6-lane highway with no crosswalk.
Northside Hospital believes women deserve better.
Northside is rolling up our sleeves and getting to work.
We got your house call.
Heard.
Learn more at northside.com/heard.
Want to get paid twice when selling your home? With Orchard, you can. Get cash up front to buy your dream home, and when your old home sells for top dollar, that's payday number 2. Get a free home valuation at Orchard.com or call 1-844-421-SELL.
At Coosa Valley Credit Union, we believe in kinder banking. That means speaking to a real person, a state-of-the-art website and mobile app, and kinder banking means offering our members the most competitive rates in the market. This is Andy Harris. Come see us at Coosa Valley Credit Union.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Still watching the brake lights on I-75 southbound, passing Cleveland Avenue, exit 241, where we've got this crash blocking at least one lane. Hard to see through the trees what is blocked, but it is blocking at least a lane. That's why you're slow leaving Langford Parkway. And if you're heading to 75-85 northbound, you're seeing some brake lights from University Avenue as you make your way north of I-20. Earlier crash into cab, 285 southbound, the Interloop Covington Highway, exit 43. That has cleared off to the right. All lanes open there. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly sunny today, high 76. That's on par for the average high for this afternoon. Lows tonight in the upper 40s, low 50s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, breezy, high 84. Even warmer on Saturday, partly cloudy, high 86.
It is 70 degrees in Conyers, 72 in Woodstock. Loganville has 70 degrees. Once again, we're following breaking news out of Florida. There's been a shooting on the campus of FSU. We understand that there are reportedly maybe 3 people in the hospital. The shooter said to be in custody, according to CNN. We'll bring you more on this breaking story as we get it. Next news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Greetings, America. It's Eric Erickson here from coast to coast and then some, all the way up to Anchorage, Alaska. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I'm trying to get on the radio in Hawaii just so I can say, from Hawaii to Maine, and then have a business tax-deductible excuse to go visit the Big Island. That's Fisher and I want to go see Hawaii. Fisher, work on getting us an affiliate out there. 877-973-7425 is the phone number. Kobe's going to go with me to Hawaii, though, Fisher. If you want to text the word Eric to 33777, you can. There is some additional breaking news I need to bring to you. It has happened. Google has lost its case in federal court on an ad monopoly. This judge, a federal judge, has ruled that Google has an illegal ad monopoly. Its stock not doing so well after this ruling. It actually is a very big deal that Google has lost an antitrust case, that they are a monopolist. It was brought by the Trump DOJ the first term, continued by the Biden DOJ, and now pursued by the Trump DOJ, and Google has lost. And I got to tell you, I do think it's a good ruling, because Google does have an ad monopoly, and it has undermined a lot of businesses trying to get awareness out there about their brands and products. Google controls it all. They bought up all the companies that do it. So you go through all these companies that appear to be independent companies, and so many of them are actually Google on the back end. It's anti-competitive. Now, the other breaking news is a shooting at Florida State University. There are reports of several students shot, at least 4 hurt. We do not know their conditions right now. The shooter apparently has now been contained and captured by police. The initial reports are that this shooter is alive and in police custody. But a lot of these things, as you and I know, a lot of these things are subject to change. So just keep that in mind. We will keep an eye on this story. I do want to take your phone calls, 877-973-7425. But before I do that, I want to talk to you about what happened in Texas. God bless Texas. It's a saying, but it's true. There's been a big fight in Texas to start school choice, and boy, are they unhappy at the New York Times. The Texas House of Representatives voted early Thursday morning to create one of the largest taxpayer-funded school voucher programs, a hard-fought victory for private school choice activists as they turned their attention to a nationwide voucher push. The measure still has some legislative hurdles to clear before Governor Abbott signs it into law, but the House vote, 85-63, secured a win that was decades in the making, propelled by the governor's hardball politics last year. It was also a significant defeat for Democrats, teachers' unions, and some rural conservatives who have long worried taxpayer-funded private school vouchers would strain public school budgets. The program would be capped at $1 billion in its first year, but could quickly grow, potentially reaching $4.5 billion a year by 2030. The funds can be used for private school tuition and for costs associated with homeschooling, including curriculum material and virtual learning programs. The bill was championed by an ascendant wing of the Republican Party closely allied with President Trump and important conservative donors, including Betsy DeVos, Mr. Trump's wealthy former education secretary, and Jeff Yass, a billionaire financier from Pennsylvania and a Republican megadonor. Hours before the vote, the president spoke by phone to Governor Abbott and Republican representatives, urging them to support the measure. It's a really forward-thinking vote, Mr. Trump said, his voice heard on speakerphone. Whatever I can do, let me know. Those in the room cheered. It's time to provide a full array of options to parents. Representative Brad Buckley, a sponsor of the bill, said from the House floor before the vote, conservatives and some liberal allies, especially in urban centers, have long argued that vouchers would free parents from underperforming public schools, while competition from private schools would force public education to improve. Opponents, especially teachers' unions, have argued just as vociferously that taxpayer-funded vouchers would drain resources from public education and leave children with the fewest resources stuck in underfunded public schools of last resort. Good for Texas. You know what? The COVID pandemic was very destructive. I don't have to tell you that, but your faith in experts is gone. Your faith in government is gone. Your faith in institutions is gone. When parents stuck home with their kids, watching them on Zoom calls learn or not learn, it opened the eyes of so many parents to how bad a lot of public schools are. Now, to be fair, there are a lot of good public schools. And you know where those public schools tend to be really good? Those public schools that tend to be really good tend to be in wealthy areas of the country where parents have time to be actively engaged in the schools. You know where it's not good is in poor areas of the country, in urban areas where moms and dads work multiple low-wage jobs. Oftentimes the dad is not there. He's in jail or just gone. And the schools serve as babysitters. And what the left's solution to this is that we should keep every kid in a public school, and we should get parents to stop homeschooling their kids and shut down the private schools, because if all the kids went to public school, it would force involvement and get those schools better. They want to force you into a behavior. They don't want to give you options. This is the God's honest truth. It's not my truth. It's not your truth. It's the truth. There are always going to be kids in public schools because their parents don't have the time or the money or the ability to get them to a private school. But there are people who don't have the money, but they have the time and the energy and the effort and the commitment to get their kids better education. And we should not force them to stay in a failing school on the idea that, well, if all the good kids leave, only the bad kids will be left behind. It's true that only the kids who can't, it's not the bad kids, but it's the kids whose parents can't, they're going to be left behind. But you know what? You clear enough kids out of the public schools, the student-teacher ratio is going to go down, and those kids who can't, they're going to have more hands-on with the teachers who can and raise them up too. I've never understood this left-wing idea that we should punish the kids who have the capability but not the money, who were cursed to live in a zip code. Public education is the most discriminatory institution in the United States of America because public education at the elementary and secondary level is based on your zip code. And the people with the means to do so can move to a better zip code and get their kids a better education, but the poor people can't. And what school choice does is it says there's money that flows from the state to the school, from the state. Local money is going to continue to go to the local schools. But, you know, if I take my kid out of a public school and homeschool my kid, the local public school that failed my kid stops getting the state money. Now what's going to happen? I want to send my kid to a private school. That state money is going to go to the private school. And I may have to supplement the cost, but so be it. You know, in all the states that have embraced universal school choice, all ships have risen in the rising tide of educational success. All of them have. School choice, we now have enough states that have deployed it for long enough to know that it actually does work. It actually does improve the public schools and the private schools. Competition actually does work. Florida is a staggering example of this. With Florida's school choice program that really pioneered and led the way in the United States, Florida has seen its public schools improve and its private schools improve. Here are the states now that have universal school choice: Florida, North Carolina, West Virginia, Ohio, Indiana, Tennessee, Alabama, Louisiana, Arkansas, Iowa, Oklahoma, Texas, Arizona, Utah, Wyoming, and Idaho. Let's focus for a moment, please, on Louisiana. Governor Bobby Jindal led the fight in Louisiana for school choice when he was governor. And you know what's happened in Louisiana? Literacy rates of non-white students have gone up higher than any states other than Mississippi and Alabama. Mississippi leads the nation in literacy for non-white students. Mississippi doesn't have school choice, but it seems like it's headed in that direction. But you know what Mississippi did is it focused on the basics. Louisiana focused on the basics. You know why Louisiana got school choice? It wasn't just Governor Jindal's push. It was because of Katrina. Hurricane Katrina wiped out the school system in New Orleans. The public schools couldn't get back online, but you know who could? The Catholic Church. And the Catholic Church took over the public school system in New Orleans after Katrina for a time. And you know what happened? Grades went up. Literacy improved. And that showed black members of the state legislature in Louisiana that, you know what? School choice might be a good thing. In Georgia, it passed minor school choice passed with the help of some black legislators who the Democrats chased out of their party. And Georgia doesn't have universal school choice. It is rural Republicans in Georgia have been sabotaging it because the public school systems are such big employers in their areas. It's rural Republicans who have killed school choice repeatedly in Georgia. In Texas, it was rural Republicans who battled it out with the suburban and urban Republicans and Democrats. Urban Democrats, black Democrats in Texas wanted school choice. Governor Abbott ran a primary campaign targeting Republicans over the issue of school choice, and most of them lost their reelections in the primaries and were replaced with Republicans who promised school choice. Kind of wish Governor Kemp would do that in Georgia, honestly. Instead of just over tort reform, do it over school choice. Iowa, Tennessee, North Carolina, Indiana, Ohio, West Virginia, they've all seen public school standards improve and public school output improve once they adopted universal school choice. Because you reduce the populations of the public schools, the funding actually isn't devastating because those kids, if they leave, they're not going to get state funding anyway. You've improved the educational outcomes for students, though. It's the bureaucrats who hate school choice. The parents love it. And you know what else has happened in all of these states? Every single one of these states that has adopted school choice, the states have become more Republican. It's my message to Republicans where I am in Georgia is you think demographically the state is shifting left, you adopt universal school choice, the state shift to the right. Florida was a swing state. Florida was a reliable swing state. Barack Obama won Florida. Bill Clinton won Florida. George Bush only won it by 539 votes in 2000. Ron DeSantis won it by less than 1%. You know why he won it, though, and by less than 1%? It was black mothers who voted for him over Andrew Gillum because DeSantis said he would support school choice, and Andrew Gillum promised to kill off the entire program, and black mothers voted for Ron DeSantis. And when he won re-election, he dominated the state when he ran re-election, and the number one issue for the Democratic parents who voted for him was school choice. School choice makes states more Republican because Democrats are so in the pocket of the teachers' unions they can't support it. And so parents who are Democrats vote Republican. It's a lesson for every Republican in the country. You should support school choice, including you rural Republicans, because it keeps your dominance in your states. It also happens to be the moral choice, the right thing to do.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
121 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. I think I've found some new trouble downtown. Looks to be in a left center lane, 75-85 southbound. Right before right at North Avenue, exit 249. That's keeping 75 and both 85 south slow, trying to get into the Midtown area. Some brake lights in Buckhead on 400 northbound, passing Lenox Road, exit 2. Some flashing lights mostly off to the right, but it is causing that slow zone there as you try to head up toward I-285 in Glen Ridge. Earlier crash, 75 south Cleveland Avenue, pushed off to the side. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and a free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
When the news matters to you.
Massive project at 285 and Georgia 400 has been a big improvement.
95.5 WSB has you covered.
The latest incident comes when a SWAT team is called after a suspect.
Your 24/7 news
They
source.
had no ties to a gang.
When you need the story, all you need to do is listen. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's breaking news station.
You might think a window is just a window until you have to replace yours.
Yeah, we hear that all the time. But nope, all windows are not the same.
It's Jonathan and Ted from North Georgia Replacement Windows.
Upgrade now to beautiful Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows to improve energy efficiency, comfort, and curb appeal.
Experience the Infinity fiberglass difference at your home or in our new Alpharetta showroom. Don't buy just any window.
Invest in your home.
Infinity from Marvin Replacement Windows, yeah!
This is Scott Slade. Let's talk about how to improve your chances of living a longer, healthier life. For me, it's preventive medicine. My doctor saw one funky number in my lab work that eventually led to a diagnosis early enough so I still had options. You just got to have a medical professional looking at you every so often, especially when we're talking about heart disease, the nation's #1 killer. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the best CT imaging in the Southeast with 98% accuracy and low radiation, like flying in an airplane. They can detect calcium levels in your arteries and most cancers at the earliest stage. And virtual imaging can scan your brain to see if you're in danger of a tumor, stroke, or even dementia. So don't put this off, especially with this offer from virtual imaging. For a limited time, they're offering you and your spouse a free heart scan. Yes, free with a few minimum requirements. I've done it. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Nobody wants to think about their septic system. Hi, I'm Shannon. I started Scorpion Septic so you don't have to. My licensed, insured, experienced team responds 24/7 with fast, on-time service, upfront pricing, and high-quality work.
Take the sting out of septic service with Scorpion Septic, where there is never a pump-out charge with your repair. Call for more information. ScorpionSepticServices.com.
ScorpionSepticServices.com.
It's Eric here, and with the election ended, there is change in the air. A new day dawns for American businesses. New regulations, new deregulation, new tax plan, new tax cuts. You may be smelling opportunity in the air. You may be seeing opportunity. Now is the time to consider reaching out to First Liberty Building and Loan and see if they might be able to help you put your plan that's in your head down to paper and see if they can help you capitalize on it. There are so many opportunities out there. If you need to borrow $750,000 or more, well, First Liberty might be able to help you. They make their own lending decisions. They've been doing it since the 90s. They know how to do it, and because the Frost family's been helping businesses since the 90s, they're still going to be there. You're not going to have lender rollover like you've had at other places. Reach out to them, FirstLibertyGA.com. FirstLibertyGA.com. Spend 10 minutes with them, see if you're a fit for them and them for you. FirstLibertyGA.com.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard joining MediShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
You may not agree with him, but he tells you the truth. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. It's Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be very happy to have you. Don't forget to text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Stand by on the phones. We got a short segment. I want to do justice to your phone call when we come back. Now, bringing you the latest on the FSU situation. The FBI is now involved in the shooting investigation. There is a suspect in custody. At least 4 people have been hurt. There are no reports at this time of fatalities. We don't know if that situation will or will not change. Prayers for the people down at FSU. But this is an all-hands response from federal and state authorities. But there is now confirmation from the police that the shooter is in custody, which is fantastic. We'll keep following that story as things develop there. Now, can I mention real quick a wild pivot here to the Chicks in Space story? We got these women, a remote-controlled flight. They were not controlling, and they want us to treat them like they were astronauts. Have you noticed the lack of stories about the carbon emissions of a tourism flight into space with these women? I mean, if it was dudes, if it was conservatives, if it was anybody else, if it was Elon Musk doing it, there would be all sorts of articles about the carbon emissions. But think about all of the hot air that was not released for 90 minutes while Gayle King and Katy Perry were in space. I mean, the sad thing is we sent them to space, and space was like, no, go back. We don't want you. And now they're like, I'm an astronaut. You are not an astronaut, lady. You are not an astronaut. You didn't touch a button in the damn thing. You went up and came back. You are not an astronaut. You know what astronauts do? Astronauts go to space and they get stuck there for 9 months. They come home and say thank you, and that's it. And you're all like, this was a victory for women. No, Sally Ride was a victory for women. You're just a rich woman with connections. Shut up. Now, let me tell you about Vision Computers, because they would love to build you a computer. They would love to be your tech support. If you need a computer, you need a great computer, you need an AI-capable computer, you need a gaming PC, whatever you need, they can work with you and build the PC for you. You're like, I can just go to the one-size-fits-all big box store with the blue logo. No, you can't, because if you go there, your computer is going to be a computer for the masses. It's not going to be a computer for you. And, well, Erickson, I don't know what I need. Well, you call Vision and explain, here's what I do, here's what I want the computer to do. And they build the computer for you, and they make it upgradable, so you don't have to keep going back to the big box store every few years to get a new computer. You just upgrade the one you have, and Vision services it for free. They're wonderful people. They've got thousands of 5-star reviews for tech support, for their computers, everything. We got one of their computers in our house. Call them at 404-COMPUTER. Go to visioncomputers.com. If you call them at 404-COMPUTE and tell them I sent you, they're going to save you even more money, and they're great people. 404-COMPUTE, visioncomputers.com. Any one of you nationwide can take advantage of this.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. We do have breaking news this afternoon out of Florida.
CBS News special report. Shots fired at Florida State University. A minute after noon, the school issued an alert warning of an active shooter on the campus in Tallahassee. Shots were fired in the area of the school's student union. CBS's Anna Schechter.
Very chaotic scene, sirens, people running, very little information pinned down except that it was an active shooter situation.
This student found safety.
I just feel awful for the students on there having to go through these emotions right now, dealing with scared for their lives, honestly.
At least 4 people have been injured. A nearby hospital, Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare, says it is treating people affected by the shooting, but says it cannot yet confirm how many people it is treating. There is a large police, fire, and ambulance presence at the scene on campus. The FBI, we're told, is also responding. All classes at Florida State University have been canceled for the rest of the day. Again, active shooter situation at Florida State University, students sheltering in place. CBS News special report. I'm Michael Wallace.
And we understand now that the shooter is in custody there at FSU. Sunny skies today, nice. Highs around 76 this afternoon. Happening now in Barrow County, the father accused of giving his son access to a rifle that was used in September's Appalachia High School shooting in Barrow County, asking a judge to move his trial out of that county. In Paulding County, 24-year-old Deputy Bryce Maddock in the hospital right now. He was shot this morning during a welfare check in the Brookside subdivision. The man who shot him killed by deputies. His name has not yet been released. And the Golden Corral restaurant in Cummings is going to be closed until further notice. There was a fire there this morning. Nobody was hurt. It's 1:32.
Dave Baker here for Coolray. You know that Coolray Heating and Cooling, Plumbing and Electrical always has your back, right? Well, right now, Coolray's offering an AC tune-up for just $79.99. Hey, that's a great deal. You can stay ahead of the heat that's coming our way and get your HVAC system in tip-top shape. But maybe your system needs more than just a tune-up this year. Maybe this is the year your AC needs to be replaced. I had mine replaced last year because it was old and inefficient. But good news again, not only can you receive up up to $2,250 back in rebates when you purchase a new complete Carrier HVAC system from Coolray, but they will also upgrade your attic installation for free. Imagine the home comfort you'll feel. And Coolray has those sweet Carrier home comfort systems, the ones that come with a lifetime parts and labor warranty, on hand and ready for same-day or next-day installation. Keep your house cool this summer. Simply go to Coolray.com and set up your appointment today. Coolray and Carrier. Turn to the experts.
The foods we eat can be downright bad for our health. This is Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've been teaching the truth about real bread. Not the stuff you buy at the store. I'm talking real bread made with freshly milled flour. When you buy bread from the store, take a look at the ingredients. Enriched flour means that the nutritious bran and germ has been removed to improve the shelf life. Then a few B vitamins and iron are added back to replace the multitude of nutrients lost. That's not enrichment in my book. And today, that label may even read contains bioengineered food ingredients. Food should never be bioengineered. At Bread Beckers in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real bread loaded with fiber and nutrients. A delicious, healthy, affordable solution that can improve your health and change your life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson here. Do your windows and doors stick? Are you noticing cracks in the drywall or the brickwork? You might have a big problem. Serious issues need the serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, as are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
Hi, Alex Williams. How are we looking on the roads?
New trouble in the downtown Midtown area. We found it on a jam cam. It's a stall in the center lane, 7585 southbound North Avenue, exit 249. That's got 75 south on the brakes from Northside Drive. 85 slows coming down from the Georgia 400 merge. And if you're traveling into Cobb County, I-20 east and westbound, a little slow getting through the work zone just west of Panola Road, exit number 71. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Sunny skies today, staying mild, high 76.
It is 73 degrees right now in Johns Creek. Powder Springs has 73, and out in Snellville, it's 71 degrees. More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, let's go to the phones. Bob's been waiting patiently. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Doing well, Eric. Appreciate what you do very much. I wanted to go back to your comment earlier on about the risk we run with the Trump administration going after Harvard's 501c3 status. I am a Christian. I very much understand your concern about them coming after Christians next with another administration. Now, my issue is, or my question is, if the Supreme Court was creative enough and disciplined enough to put enough to define the Bob Jones case as a very specific example, couldn't they be creative enough and disciplined enough to take on anti-Semitism in the same way? I mean, this is an international issue that has gone on for millennia. And you talk about historic precedents. I mean, this is one of biblical proportion, actually. And so I would just tend to think that the Supreme Court could carve out a niche, or whatever you want to call it, that would allow application in this situation for anti-Semitism.
So,
and I'll leave it at that.
Okay, so here's part of the problem, though, Bob, is on the anti-Semitism issue in particular. is if you use a standard definition of anti-Semitism, did the Jews kill Jesus? I mean, according to the standard definition of anti-Semitism, if you say yes to that, you might be considered an anti-Semite. Do we really want to trust a federal bureaucrat in the IRS to say that's anti-Semitism? Therefore, your tax-exempt status is removed, because you could appeal it to the courts and go through that process, but every time it happens, you drive up the litigation costs. That's I mean, we're playing a dangerous game here. I get what you're saying, and I'm sympathetic to it, but we're playing a very dangerous game when we then hand it over to federal bureaucrats to nuance the situation. If we move from race, which is a very bright line given the history of this country, to, okay, anti-Semitism. Well, did the Jews kill Jesus? Well, everybody killed Jesus, but didn't the Jews, weren't they the ones who handed Jesus over to Pontius Pilate? Well, yes. Aha! You anti-Semite. You hate the Jews. No, I don't hate the Jews. It's just, yeah, they were the ones who plotted Jesus' death. Oh, so you say the Jews killed Jesus. All right, tax-exempt status denied. Go appeal to the federal courts. Hire a lawyer, shell out the money, go appeal. Next. That you see, you go down a slippery slope here. Now, one of my law professors one time said you only slide on a slippery slope if you choose to, but once you start, you don't stop till you hit rock bottom. The Supreme Court in 1983, Bob Jones, and by the way, I actually think that they might not should have done it, but their reasoning in 1983 was very specific. It was pushed by Jimmy Carter's administration, upheld in 1983, and the whole basis there was, in this country, race has a very unique situation and unique history given slavery and the Civil War. And so there must be a strict scrutiny when it comes to race in this country in dealing with racial matters. And Bob Jones and its racial policies in the 1970s were discriminatory, and therefore they lost their 501c3 status. They had it in 1970, but the IRS changed status. Now, keep in mind, in the Obergefell case before the United States Supreme Court, the Supreme Court, I believe it was Justice Alito, asked in the Obergefell case, the Obama Solicitor General, could religious nonprofits that discriminate against gays lose their tax-exempt status? And he said that wasn't at stake, and Alito pushed him, and he said, yes. If you grant the right to marriage to same-sex couples and nonprofits discriminate, yes. And we have seen this play out now in a series of cases around the country. And by the way, you should note that the religious institutions have been protected, but it's because they weren't come after their 501c3 status. You start going after the 501c3 status for allegations of anti-Semitism, well, then you're going to start going over discrimination against gay marriage. You're going to go over religious discrimination, and you're going to start whittling out classes of people on the right if they're successful with Harvard. Now, there is a way to go after Harvard's 501c3 status without opening a can of worms. Harvard has engaged in racial discrimination. I mean, that was the whole situation with the discrimination against Asian students. Harvard has engaged in racial discrimination. And you could go at Harvard under the Bob Jones case and make it about racial discrimination and keep it within the Bob Jones parameters. And there is a way forward on that path. But I would be very, very, very careful about going after their 501c3 status, because the president says Harvard's got to operate in a public interest, and that's the standard he wants to use. And there's dangerous wiggle room there. Now, listen, I get it. There are people on the right who think if Trump wants it, let's give it to him. I am not one of those people. I think precedent matters. And I'm very hesitant to go after their nonprofits because I don't like them. I want their funding cut. I don't want to give them a penny of the federal government's money. I don't think they should have it. I wouldn't want my kid to go to Harvard. In fact, I tried to get my kid to apply to Harvard. She would have probably gotten into Harvard, and I wanted her to apply to Harvard just so she could publicly reject going to Harvard. She thought it was nonsensical. I was a big proponent of trying to get her. So was her high school headmaster. The high school headmaster wanted her to apply to Harvard, get in, so he could publicly tell people, we had a kid get into Harvard, and she said no. But she wouldn't do it. But you're playing with fire here. And if you are willing to take the emotion out of it and stop trying to be clever and say, well, I think we can get them in, we can just wedge them in on this one thing, someone on the other side is going to wedge in the people you like. And when the precedents get set, it's gonna be really problematic for all sides. Matt, St. Augustine, Florida, you're going to be next. Welcome to the show.
Hello?
Hey, Matt.
Can you hear me, sir?
I can. Welcome.
Hello, can you hear me,
Yeah,
sir?
Matt, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Perfectly, sir. I'm calling about your recent evaluation of the 501c3 for the Harvard and the potential effect it could have on churches. Here's my statement question, take it whichever. Churches, in my belief, should not be under federal guideline in the first place. They should be receiving donations, post-tax money from people who donate, thereby avoiding any of the federal guidelines. The Christians should not mix up, my desire to save money on my tax return with Christian principles. They should just donate post-tax money, and now whatever monies the churches receive is simply a gift. And if it's under 13, 15,000, whatever it is a year, it's not subject to federal guidelines. Does this make any sense, sir?
Yeah, but I actually think you misunderstand it. So first of all, here's what the data shows, Matt, is that with or without nonprofit status, Christians give more than any other group in the country because they're compelled by God to tithe. So even if you got rid of 501c3 status tomorrow, I think Christians would still donate. But 501c3 status doesn't give the federal government control. So charitable institutions that have 501c3 status, they don't have federal control over them. They
so
serve
what's the fear, sir? Yes, sir. What would be the fear, sir?
So the fear would be that you take away nonprofit status. You're not going after the churches. You're going after Catholic charities. You're going after the Catholic hospital. You're going after the Baptist hospital or the Baptist food shelter or the Presbyterian food bank or the Presbyterian soup kitchen or the Mormon aid to people. And that's where the money would be impacted. It would be impacting churches. It would be impacting those nonprofits. It'd be impacting the Christian school. It'd be impacting the Hillsdale colleges of the world. It'd be impacting the Samford universities of the world that's Baptist. Those are the ones that would be affected because they would have to pay income tax, and right now they don't have to pay income tax. And so you would be seeing them deprived of money that would be going to the federal government when actually what they do, and the whole purpose of the 501c3 status is to not tax institutions that perform a role that could otherwise be performed by the government, and they do so in a charitable manner. So no institution of higher education, with very few exceptions, is for-profit. There are some for-profit ones, like SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design, is a for-profit institution, so my understanding. But most are nonprofits, and so they don't have to pay income tax. That doesn't give you, you all need to understand this, that a 501c3 status does not give the federal government control over an entity because they're not getting federal money. They just don't have to give their money to the federal government in the form of income tax. And you get a tax deduction. Now, why? Because your Catholic charity that runs an adoption center is running an adoption center that the government doesn't have to run because the Catholics are doing it. The Baptist hospital is taking care of people so that the government doesn't have to start a hospital to take care of those people. The Presbyterian Food Bank is feeding the homeless so the government doesn't have to feed the homeless. The Mormon Relief Organization is taking care of victims of natural disaster so the federal government doesn't have to. The Methodist Children's Home is taking care of children so the state doesn't have to. So the response from the federal government is, we're not going to make you pay income taxes to then fund those social services since you're already doing them. And churches, because of the separation of church and state, have never had to pay taxes because their money is going to their religious objectives. That's all the nonprofit status means, is that these institutions are doing jobs that the government would otherwise do, and in exchange, the government lets them keep all of their money instead of paying taxes to the government that would then go to social services. That's far different from the situation of Harvard taking federal money to fund research and to fund student admissions and things like that. The giving of money gives the government control. The refusal of the government to take money does not give the government control. 501c3 status just means these institutions don't have to pay income taxes, and you, instead of giving money to the government to fund social services, you've given it to the charity, therefore you get to deduct the money. See, if all of your money went to the federal government to fund social services, these nonprofits wouldn't need to exist. But because these nonprofits exist and you give them money, you don't have to give the government, you get a tax deduction off what you've given to them because they're filling the void from the government. And those institutions then don't have to give any of the money to the government because their resources are going to fill the void from the government. So the Catholic Charities, the Baptist hospitals, the Methodist Children's Homes, the Mormon Relief Organizations, the Presbyterian Soup Kitchens, if they didn't exist, the government would have to do even more. So you giving them money and them getting to hold the money is a good thing because otherwise government would grow even more. 501c3 status keeps the government from growing even more. But again, all of the data shows that Christians give more money in this country than any other group. And Christians would still give money if 501c3 status went away tomorrow because the Bible says they got to tithe. But I'm not worried about the churches. I'm worried about the religious charitable endeavors in this country. If they were revoked because the Catholic charities don't adopt to a same-sex couple. The Baptist religious institution says you can't be a gay teacher because we believe that homosexuality is a sin. The Mormon Relief Agency believes that you've got to adhere to their values in order to work there. The nunnery that serves a charity says you got to be a female Catholic to work here. They all discriminate in some way based on their religious tenets, and they should be allowed to because of freedom of religion. But revoking their tax status, I think, is a dangerous, dangerous game. Now, protecting you from government overreach is one reason to go to Old Glory Bank and do business with them at oldglorybank.com. You can fill out the form. Takes less than 8 minutes at oldglorybank.com. Get a bank account with them. I told you the story yesterday up in Northeast Georgia. There's a gun store whose bank cut off their bank account. And they're like, I guess they don't want to do business with the gun store. And the bank was like, we're fine doing business with the gun store, but because of there have been a series of checks that we've had questions about, we had to. And what no one has mentioned in the news articles around it is that there's a federal law that banks have to comply with. And if there are too many red flags in bank accounts, banks are supposed to debank you. And Mike Ring, the president and CEO of Old Glory Bank, has testified before Congress and said, we're not debanking people. We're going to sort this out, and we're going to do right by the customer. If red flags are raised, we're going to make sure it's not their fault. And if it's not their fault, we're going to protect them. We're not just going to do what a lot of other banks are doing and saying, I'm sorry, bureaucratic checking the box, we're going to close your bank account. They're not going to do it at Old Glory Bank. If you're innocent, if it's not your fault, they're going to protect you because Old Glory Bank is by conservatives, for conservatives, and they're deeply opposed to this government overreach that is causing banks to randomly do this. If you're a gun store and your bank has been giving you a hard time, go to oldglorybank.com. Get a business account there. You can get a personal account there. You can get checking, savings. You can do mortgages. You can do car loans. You can do CDs. They're a fully operational bank. They're my bank. I've used them now for more than a year, and I love them. and you will too. OldGloryBank.com. They will work with you. OldGloryBank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender, terms and conditions apply.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
152, Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Double trouble in Midtown. We got a crash, 7585 southbound, just below 17th Street. That is in the second left lane. Once you get past that, there's a stall in the center lane at North Avenue, exit 249. So really jammed up from the 85-400 merge, trying to head into downtown. Elsewhere, looking for new trouble, 20 westbound, Fulton Industrial Boulevard, exit 49. Delays from I-285. And into cab, still got the right lane construction, 20 eastbound between Wesley Chapel Road and Panola Road. Traffic brought to you by Discover. Discover wants everyone to feel special. That's why they double all the cash back you've earned on your credit card at the end of your first year with Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Hey, Taxman got you down?
How about a $1,000 pickup?
Win $1,000. 5 different keywords. 5 chances every weekday.
I just won $1,000 on WSB.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
Beginning Monday, April 21st.
Download the WSB app. Rules and info at WSBradio.com/cash.
Don't ignore any cracked bricks or concrete, floor or wall gaps, or bowed walls. You could be ignoring underlying foundation problems, and that will hurt the value of your home. Foundation problems? Visit AquaGuard.net today and book your free inspection.
AquaGuard. Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
How can your termite company claim your home is termite free? By only walking around the outside? Dave Baker for Breda Pest Management. Termites are the most destructive pest of all. They literally eat your house. So only Breda will also come inside and thoroughly inspect your entire home with infrared cameras. Breda guarantees your termite protection and will lock in your rate for 10 years. BREDAPest.com.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Hey everyone, it's your buddy Shelly Winter here. Join me this Saturday at noon for The Car Guys with Kevin Deutsch from Butler Lexus of South Atlanta. Buy or lease, fix or sell, everything you want to know about cars, we will cover Saturday, noon to 1, right here on 95.5 WSB.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's the active season here in the ATL. Are you going to be active or inactive because of chronic joint pain? Hey, it's Mark Aaron back from my pals at QC Kinetics. I want you to know something. The medical pros at QC Kinetics right here in Atlanta are on the case and focused to finally get you the relief you need. With QC Kinetics, the science solid. They give you your life back without surgery, without drugs, and without any downtime. Get out and be active this summer. Golfing, swimming, tennis. Heck, pickleball seems to be picking up speed. Get out there and be active. Don't let your chronic joint pain hold you back. Curious if you'd be a candidate for these treatments? No problem. Consultation totally free, and they're happy to take a look and see if they can help you finally get relief. Call now and find out how easy it is to get back to enjoying life without chronic joint pain. Now, the best time to get started. Call QC Kinetics now, 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026 for QC Kinetics.
Join Eric's army of activists and let your voice be heard. Text ARMY to 33777.
Greetings, conversationalists. Christina, listener on WSB Uber DoorDash driver, sent a very nice message to the station saying how much she loves all of us here at my flagship station, and I just want to tell her we love you too. Thank you for listening. The phone number here for all of you, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, y'all. Turns out trans women are not women, at least in Great Britain. The Supreme Court of the United Kingdom of Great Britain, Northern Ireland, has ruled that for purposes of the laws of the Kingdom of Great Britain, women are women, men are men, and trans women are men, and trans men are women. Sadly, we haven't gotten that sort of moral clarity in this country. Britt Leatherwood of the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission has a piece out with Randy Davis in the Christian Post that the last month has seen a flurry of activity around child gender transition policy developments. The Colorado House of Representatives just passed a bill that would revoke custody from parents who don't affirm their child's transgender identity. The Colorado Senate will take up the bill soon. Arkansas State Legislature is considering a bill that would allow parents to sue anyone who transitions their child's gender without their involvement. Pennsylvania and Nevada are considering legislation on the topic. Thankfully, the Trump administration has changed the federal government's official legal position regarding children and gender transitions. In an active case before the Supreme Court, the U.S. government now affirms that Tennessee's law banning puberty blockers and hormone therapy for transgender minors is constitutional, reversing the Biden administration's previous position. This shouldn't be an issue before the courts. This is a common sense issue. Children should not be transitioned from the gender God himself assigned them. And yet here we are. Now, when we come back, wild ride. Do you know what a growing number of atheists believe in this country, according to Gallup? That there's an afterlife. Yeah, atheists. I guess they got tired of thinking the worms were going to eat them. We'll discuss when we come back and take your phone calls, 877-973-7425.
When I think of the word deck, I think of a lot of things. It could be a deck, or a screened-in porch, a Four Seasons room, even an outdoor patio. To me, those are all decks. Dave Baker here for Ben Hill Renovations. If you want to upgrade your current deck or add a new deck to your outdoor living space, you need my friends at Ben Hill Renovations. See, Ben Hill Renovations has been building decks for over 60 years. They're experts at creating decks of all shapes and sizes. They're deck experts. Dexperts, if you will. With deck season right around the corner, now is the time to put your deck dreams into motion. Contact Ben Hill Renovations today and have your deck ready for entertaining this spring and summer. Ben Hill Renovations offers multiple financing options, up to 18 months no interest, and affordable monthly payments with approved credit. Schedule a free at-home design consultation today at bhrenovations.com. Ben Hill Renovations, creating raving fans since 1964. bhrenovations.com.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top story. It is breaking news. A shooting at FSU.
CBS News special report. A suspect is in custody after a mass shooting at Florida State University in Tallahassee. The FBI, along with multiple other law enforcement agencies, were called to the scene after shots were reported near the student union just after noon. CBS's Scott McFarland tells us the school issued an active shooter alert.
The alert that went out campus-wide at just about that time said to anybody receiving the message, seek shelter.
But some students took off running.
I heard a lot of police cars outside, so I figured that the shooting wasn't close to me, so I could make it to my car in time and I'd be safer in my apartment.
Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare says it is treating injured people but has not confirmed how many.
I just hope everyone's okay, and I hope that we can just do better precautions so this doesn't happen again.
Again, a suspect is in custody. CBS News special report. I'm Stacey Lynn.
And we'll have more as details come in to WSB. Right now, 74 degrees in Atlanta. Even warmer tomorrow and Saturday. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. Happening now, a hearing in Barrow County for Colin Gray, the man accused of giving his son the gun used in the deadly shooting at Appalachia High School. He's asking to have his trial moved out of Barrow County. A SWAT standoff is over at a Cartersville apartment. The suspect is now in custody. We're working to learn what led to the standoff, which resulted in a large police presence on Belt Road. No injuries are reported. A Paulding County Sheriff's deputy is recovering after he shot responding to a welfare check at a house in the Brookside subdivision.
And when they made contact with that individual in the home, he pulled a weapon and shot one of our deputies, wounding him, and the other deputies fired back.
Sheriff Ashley Henson says the suspect was killed. The injured deputy is identified as 24-year-old Bryce Maddock. He's in stable condition at Wellstar Kennestone Hospital and is expected to recover. An Atlanta federal judge says she's inclined to rule in favor of students challenging the cancellation of their student visas, but she's giving both sides more time to submit information. 133 students are part of this case brought by Atlanta immigration attorney Charles Cook. 26 of those are here in Georgia.
Somebody has to stand up. If you don't stand up, we're all going to fall down.
The government argues no real harm has been done to these students and they could go through a reinstatement procedure. The judge has set a hearing for next Thursday. It is 2:02. This news sponsored by FGA Roofing. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
Hope. It's more than a word. It's a breakthrough in the making. At City of Hope, we're pushing the boundaries of science, targeting cancer at the molecular level, with teams of experts working together to personalize a treatment plan right down to your DNA with unprecedented speed, making every second count, with appointments in as little as 24 hours. City of Hope, advancing cancer care at life-saving speed. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson. You wouldn't trust Mac with a jack to fix your home's sinking foundation problem, would you? I certainly wouldn't. Serious issues need serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, so are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
Guys, if you're having ED or performance issues and Viagra and Cialis haven't worked, you need to come see Choice Men's Health. Give us a call or visit us online at choicemenshealth.com. Get your love life back and choose Choice Men's Health.
If you've been taught that all bread is unhealthy, I'm here to tell you not if it's real bread. Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. If you're struggling with weight gain, high cholesterol, constipation, even warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, come visit us at the Bread Becker store in Woodstock, where we have taught thousands of customers that real bread might be their healthy solution. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of real whole grains and bread. I discovered that store-bought bread has had most of the nutrients in the grain removed during milling, and yes, even packages labeled 100% whole wheat. Make a healthy eating change in your life at Bread Beckers in Woodstock. We'll show you how bread, but only real bread, might be the answer to your family's physical ills. The Bread Beckers. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Is painting the house on your project list? Make this the last time you paint with Rhino Shield, backed by a 25-year warranty.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
It is 2:05. Time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the 24-hour traffic center.
Oh, but got some better news, Bill, for our commuters heading into Midtown and downtown. The crash 7585 southbound past 17th Street has been moved off to the right. The hero drove past that after he got that one off to the right and moved the stall off to the right at North Avenue. So everything's been cleared up, but still jammed up from the 85-400 merge. And your slow I-20 westbound, leaving the west side perimeter, 285 out to Fulton Industrial Boulevard due to some trouble that's been off to the right. No lanes have been blocked, but it has been slowing that ride. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Mostly sunny today, high 76. That's on par for the average high for this afternoon. Lows tonight in the upper 40s, low 50s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, breezy, high 84. Even warmer on Saturday, partly cloudy, high 86.
72 in Brookhaven, 73 in Douglasville, 74 in Conyers. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
my fellow Americans, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the fruited plain, and I am delighted to have you with me. The phone number is 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, I'm happy to take your calls coast to coast and then some. We got listeners listening in Singapore right now, and I can't figure out why, but we do. And at first, I thought it was like the routing. So we've got our 24/7 stream. If you text Eric to 33777, you get the 24/7 stream where this show broadcasts live noon to 3 over the internet and then repeats itself until noon the next day and starts the new show. Starting at noon tomorrow, it'll broadcast the Good Friday show, and that will run until noon on Monday. So if you miss it, you can go to ericerickson.com or just text Eric to 33777 and get the Good Friday show. My conversation with Tim Keller. But we've got, it turns out not to be VPN. We actually have listeners in Singapore, which is wild. You can follow people in the military, too, because it's been very interesting to me to watch. We've had, like, pop-ups in Syria and then in Iraq and then in Ukraine. And it's like, don't tell me there aren't Americans in Ukraine because I can see the pop-up of the tracking data from the internet signal around the world. It's been interesting. Now, we are headed into the holiest of holy weekends. It's Passover for Jews. It's Easter for Christians. And I saw this story that kind of blew my mind. 82% of Americans believe in an afterlife. Ryan Berg is a data scientist who tracks religion and has a website, Graphs About Religion. And what I find very interesting here is that the nuns, the people of no religion, actually believe in an afterlife. Among the non-religious, they were evenly divided on the question of life after death back in the 1970s. But here's what intrigued me. As time passes, the share of the nuns who believed in an afterlife rose. By 2000, 60% of people who say they are not religious believe in an afterlife. Just think about that for a second. A majority of the non-religious believe that there's something beyond this life when we die. In other words, the nuns actually believe more now than the nuns of the 1970s. The nuns of the 70s were genuinely atheistic. They believe you died and that was it. The nuns now believe you die and something happens. I think there's a good reason for this, by the way. These non-religious folks in 1973 were much more hardcore nuns. It was difficult to be a secular person in the 1970s. They were less than 5% of the population. You couldn't be a lukewarm atheist during that period. But as the nuns have grown, you get a lot more people in there who aren't so committed to the cause of secularism. Recall that the 1990s were when the nuns really began to grow quickly. And by the way, when I say nuns, I'm not meaning N-U-N-S, I'm meaning N-O-N-E-S. No religion, nuns. A primary cause has become political polarization with the rise of the nuns. That generated a lot of refugees who felt spiritual but rejected religion, in large part because of the religious right. They didn't consider themselves religious conservatives. They were religious. They just said they had no religion. But you want to know the wildest factor for who doesn't believe in an afterlife? This one's going to blow your mind. I did not know this. This is what the data says. The accumulation of data. It is the one variable that showed who was likely to believe in an afterlife or not. This is going to be a counterintuitive one. Can you guess what it is? Probably not. The more educated you are, the more you believe in an afterlife. Completely counterintuitive. We're so used to thinking of the more educated you are, the more progressive you are, the more atheist you are. Actually, the more education you have, the more likely you are to believe in an afterlife. It's the most counterintuitive bit of data. Race, income, gender, all of it coincide with the more educated you are, the more you believe in an afterlife. Now, I'll leave it to others to point out the political implications here. As a Republican Party becomes a party of people who have less education, more working class, those people actually tend to be the ones counterintuitively who actually don't believe in an afterlife. It's very interesting data to me. You know, not believing in an afterlife is as much an article of faith as believing in an afterlife. You don't know what's going to happen. You believe by faith something's going to happen. Now, I know what's going to happen because I've read to the end of the Bible. I know what happens. And it's not a by faith belief for me. There's so much evidence for it that, I just believe it generally. We'll talk about that tomorrow on Good Friday. The amount of evidence for a resurrected Lord. But this is the thing that blows my mind on the hardcore atheists who don't believe these things. You know, it's an article of faith to believe that the world was created by this Big Bang. It comports perfectly with faith. Do you know that when it was a Catholic priest who came up with the theory of the Big Bang? And even Albert Einstein rejected the theory of the Big Bang because Albert Einstein, like the others of the day, believed this was a Catholic priest trying to find evidence for the phrase, "let there be light," in Genesis 1. And they rejected the idea of the Big Bang because they thought it was just a Catholic priest trying to mess with math and physics to come up with a justification for the creation account in Genesis. And now it's the Big Bang theory is the accepted theory, and only the Christian can tell you what came before. It's one of the wild things about Christianity as a religion. You know, Christianity is actually the only real atheism. Oh, yeah, you heard me say that right. Christianity is a rejection of religion. Tim Keller has had several sermons about this. I'll talk to him tomorrow. We actually get into this a little bit in the conversation. He passed away. We recorded a 35-minute conversation before he died. I'll air it tomorrow for Good Friday in the second hour. Unless there's big breaking news, then I got to preempt Tim for news. But so Christianity is actually a rejection of religion, because what is religion? Religion is a series of rules, principles, precepts, and writings to bridge you from this world to the next, to get you to that higher level of existence. It's a series of rules. And in every religion, there's a teacher or there's a prophet who connects to that higher level and says, I'm the teacher, I'm the prophet. And yet in Christianity, here comes this guy named Jesus who says, I'm not the teacher, I am. I'm not the philosopher, I am. I am the way. I'm not pointing to the way, I am the way. I bridge the gap. I am the end of religion. You put your trust in me, and I do everything internally to you. There's nothing you have to do. I've done it all, and that's why I sit down. That's why John has the vision in Revelation of Jesus seated on the throne. He's the priest, he's the prophet, he's the king, and his work is done. So he sits down. There's nothing for you to do. He did it all. It's the end of religion. It's the end of a system. It's the end of the rules. It's the end of the way of life. It's just him. You believe in him, and he internally changes you. It's the end of religion. That's why the Romans, by the way, you know why they killed the Christians? The Romans killed the Christians for being atheists. Yeah, Romans recognized Christianity is atheistic because in the Roman world, you had to have a dead guy that you worshiped, and the Christians said Christ lived. And you had to have a priest to connect you to the dead guy, and Christians said, no, our God is alive, and he's also the priest. Well, that can't work. You must be an atheist. Kill him. It's just it's very interesting, though, that a growing body of people who call themselves atheists in the world say, yeah, believe in something else. They may not know what, but they believe there's something else. You know, a lot of people, and hardcore atheists, I think that they probably over time they suppress it. And let's be clear here, too. There is also a lot of upbringing. If you are raised by atheists, the odds are you're going to be an atheist. If you're raised by Christian, the odds are you're going to be a Christian. You're raised by Muslim, the odds are you're going to be Muslim. Now, interestingly enough, among all of these groups, who has the highest conversion rate are people who leave where they are and move to Christianity. Again, this is just the objective data. You can look at this from the Pew Research on religion, the PRC polling on religion, Ryan Bergstad on religion, Gallup has it on religion. You find this, that more people convert from something to Christianity than convert from Christianity to something else. There must be something there. You're more likely to find an atheist convert to Christianity than you are to find a Christian convert to atheism. You're more likely to find a Muslim convert to Christianity than a Christian convert to Islam. You're more likely to find a Buddhist convert to Christianity than a Christian convert to Buddhism. That's just what. Don't argue with me on that one. That's not my opinion I'm giving you. That's what the objective data shows. Because Christianity is the end of religion. You can stop trying to follow the rules once you're a Christian because you don't have a rule book. You got a God. But there is this interesting data. I'm flummoxed by it. And I suspect there are like the real committed atheists. Like I know a very committed atheist who is very convinced that, I mean, when he dies, that's the end of it. And I know, and he's like he's not what is the word I'm looking for? He's not emotional about it. He doesn't romanticize it. It's like, when I'm dead, I'm done. That's it. Circle of life. The worms eat my body. Maybe one day there's a forest over my body. That's it. I've got another friend who's an atheist who romanticizes it. It's very, what's the Pixar movie? Coco. Yeah. Coco. It's actually a great movie by Pixar, but the whole idea is that when everyone who remembers you is finally dead, you cease to exist. But as long as there's someone alive who remembers you, you are living. And it's very much on Mexican culture and the Day of the Dead and stuff like that. And he kind of has that idea that I live as long as others live who know me. And it's this very romanticized atheism that no, I go nowhere, the worms eat my body, but I'm alive in people's minds. That's not how it works. We have these conversations about it, and I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure there's something else. I'm pretty sure there is. By faith we believe. But, we Christians, when we talk about this hope, this idea of hope in the resurrection, it actually means profound certainty, like we're certain. Like, you got to write a lot of people out of history to say this guy Jesus wasn't real. And, I mean, all of his brothers who hated him in life, it's well documented that his brothers hated him in life. They all went to their graves professing him to not just be a God, but to be the God of the Bible. His brother Jude wrote this wonderful book of the Bible who says, remember, Jesus led you out of Egypt, saying Jesus is Yahweh. I mean, this is a guy who, like the eyewitness accounts during Jesus' life that we have, say this guy hated Jesus, didn't like Jesus, his half-brother Jude, and yet becomes a leader in the church and says, yeah, it turns out my brother's Yahweh. My bad. I mean, that's basically what he's saying. But it's interesting to me that the less education you have, the more likely you are to believe there's no afterlife. And even a growing number of people who say they're atheists believe there is an afterlife. Religion doesn't go away. In fact, the data is showing that religion is growing. Christianity is growing. Islam is growing. Religion is growing. People have this spiritual sense, and they may not call themselves by the name of a religion. They may not adopt a religion, but there is this growing body of evidence that more and more people are finding religion. Whatever that religion may be, they're finding it. They find something. They have some sense that this is not it. And there are certainly atheists out there who have a sense that this is it. This is all it is. A random swerve of atoms created all of this, and all of this will go away. I find that sad, but I do, again, I've got friends who are deeply committed atheists, and they really believe it, that it's all an accident. I find it to be hooey, and they find my views to be hooey, and we love each other. We get along well because we don't talk politics either, by the way. But the data, as we head to Easter weekend, tells you two things. One, there's more religion now than there was 50 years ago, and there are more people who consider themselves not religious who believe in an afterlife. And you know where that leads to, interestingly enough? Collision and possible violence. Yes, the more religion you have, the more unstable the world becomes.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
221 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Trying to recover through Midtown and downtown as we had the earlier trouble spots clear between 17th Street and North Avenue, but still slow heading southbound from the 85-400 merge. That's jammed up the Buford Spring connector south, leaving Sidney Marcus Boulevard. Earlier, right shoulder trouble that caused a big jam for no reason. 20 westbound at Fulton Industrial Boulevard, exit 49. That has cleared, but it's caused 285 southbound, the outer loop to jam in from South Cobb Drive, and seeing some inner loop northbound delays from Highway 166 Langford Parkway. Traffic brought to you by Active Pest Control. Mosquitoes are annoying and can be dangerous. Let Active Pest Control help keep your yard mosquito-free year-round. For your $69 initial mosquito control service, visit ActivePestControl.com today. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
online,
on the app,
where you get your news.
is where you'll win.
Are you serious? Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
OMG! The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
Oh my God, you just made my day!
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app. The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz
Begins Monday, April 21st on 95.5 WSB.
For pure safety and total clean, call the experts at Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Their ZR water technology replaces those old school chemicals and harsh soaps, leaving your carpets cleaner longer. Right now, you can get 3 rooms for the price of 2. That is 3 rooms cleaned, but you only pay for 2. Mention me, Chris Chandler, to secure this deal or book online at ZerorezAtlanta.com and ask about Zerorez commercial cleaning too. Zerorez, all they leave is clean.
All those flowers you planted up the driveway this spring look great, but your garage door? Yikes! Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All 4 Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. This spring, replace that old, ugly garage door with a beautiful, modern, energy-efficient door that will add to your home's value and curb appeal. At All 4 Seasons, we offer fast service, affordable prices, and a huge selection of styles, colors, and custom features. When trust matters, trust us. All, the number 4, SeasonsGarages.com.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into. They think they know what equities they have, they think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, I would liken this to a big pot of soup, and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you, because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163. 546.
Belinda here for Atlanta Vision Institute. I'm here to introduce you to a new procedure that Dr. Ashraf is performing called laser optics. This changed my life, folks. I was so tired of wearing contacts and glasses. The glasses were not around when I needed them. I had astigmatism, so the contacts didn't fit me well, and I had beginning stages of cataracts. So I went in. I was a great candidate for laser optics. It was a quick, painless procedure. The next day, it was like everything was in HD. The colors were more vibrant. The leaves were more vibrant. The sky was more vibrant. My husband was better looking. Everything was great. Laser optics with Dr. Ashraf, Atlanta Vision Institute. Go to the website 2020atlanta.com to find out more information. Also, take the quiz to see if this is a procedure that's good for you. Your medical insurance may cover it. That's 2020atlanta.com.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
And let your voice be heard. Text ARMY to 33777.
Greetings. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. I'm going to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma. James, welcome to the Eric Erickson Show. How are you?
Oh, I'm excellent, Eric. Listen to your show all the time. It's good to finally get a chance to talk to you.
Thank you.
Hey, so my question is, I heard you talking earlier about the tax-exempt status for a lot of churches because of the good charitable works that they do. But how does that work with Harvard and big universities? They make millions, if not billions, of dollars every year, but I never hear about their charitable works. So how are they tax-exempt with all the money coming in?
Great question. So their charitable work, education is considered a charitable work under the tax code. So because they're educating people, they get tax-exempt status. They also actually do, I mean, James, you got me saying something nice about Harvard, unfortunately. They actually, like MIT and Harvard together, do a really bang-up job doing military research for the government. Harvard doesn't like to talk about it because obviously Harvard's full of a bunch of woke progressives. But, the federal government has developed some major weapon systems based on technical research from MIT and Harvard working together that keep us competitive against the Chinese, and AI research, laser technology research. So they do actually have a component. Now, here's my problem, though, with this side note on this, is that they get to keep a lot of the patents on this stuff. And I don't think in these public-private partnerships they should, but that's a whole separate area of law. But yeah, I mean that's legitimately we may hate them, but academic institutions, they do take on the burden of educating. You're going to these private schools that educate instead of having them fill into state institutions. They do a lot of research, whether I like to say nice things about them or not. So that's why. But education is considered a function that charities do, and they do it so they get the tax exempt status. But again, I still say cut their funding. Don't give them a penny of federal money, but leave their tax status alone, because we're opening a can of worms that's going to come back on you and me and conservative nonprofits. And it's just so easily to predict that's the left has been trying to make a case against religious nonprofits. We don't need to make it easy for them. Do not make it easy for them, President Trump, please. Now, fighting with President Trump against government funding of some of these institutions is Americans for Prosperity, that supports common sense conservative reforms around the country, including rolling back all this lavish money that the government throws at these institutions. You can be a part of the fight by going to AmericansForProsperity.org. Their big fight right now are two fronts: school choice around the country. Big players in Texas. Those of you in the Texas AFP chapter, you scored a big victory in the Texas legislature. The REINS Act that would rein in federal and state bureaucrats around the country. AFP's came up with the idea of the REINS Act and is advocating for it. And then the president's tax cuts. They would love to have you just stay informed about the state of play, become advocates for common sense conservative reform for families and small businesses, for individuals around the country. All you got to do is go to AmericansForProsperity.org. Sign up with AFP. They have chapters in every state. They'd love to have you involved. I go around the country speaking at AFP events, getting to know their members, getting to know their employees. They're really good people. I just did an event for them in Florida. Go to AmericansForProsperity.org, AmericansForProsperity.org. Sign up with AFP today. Be a part of advancing freedom.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's news and talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio. Our top story, it is breaking news at FSU.
CBS News special report. A suspect is in custody after a mass shooting at Florida State University in Tallahassee. Multiple law enforcement agencies raced to the campus after the university issued an active shooter alert a little over 2 hours ago.
I heard about 12 shots go off. I initially thought it was like construction or something, but in the back of my head, I was like, those are gunshots.
Blake is a student at FSU.
I saw people starting to leave the union, and so I ran as well away from the union. And as I was running, I heard about another 15 shots.
There are reports of multiple victims. Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare confirms it does have 6 patients. 5 are in serious condition. 1 is critical. President Trump spoke from the Oval Office after being briefed on the shooting.
It's a shame. It's a horrible thing. Horrible that things like this take place.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis wrote on X, "Our prayers are with our FSU family." CBS News special report. I'm Stacy Lynn.
A Paulding County Sheriff's deputy is in stable condition after he's shot responding to a welfare check at a house in the Brookside subdivision. The suspect is shot and killed. The injured deputy is 24-year-old Bryce Maddock. He's now recovering at Wellstar Kennestone Hospital. South Fulton Police Chief Keith Meadows mourns the loss of Lieutenant Helio Garcia, who was killed on the line of duty this week.
Helio meant a great deal to me as a leader in this organization. When I first came aboard as the police chief, he was one of the first people that approached me and said, I want to go with you to help build this police department.
Lieutenant Garcia was driving his department vehicle on Flat Shoals Road when another vehicle veered into his lane and struck him head on. He's the first South Fulton officer to die in the line of duty. It is 2:32, and this news is sponsored by Bread Beckers.
Dave Baker here for Artisan Custom Closets. Spring cleaning? Not a fan. However, ever since I had Artisan Custom Closets help me redesign my bedroom closet, spring cleaning has gotten a whole lot easier. See, Artisan helped me to design an affordable, luxurious closet system tailored to my needs. Every project they do is installed by an Artisan professional, generally in under a day. Schedule your free design consultation with the master designer at artisancustomclosets.com. P.S. They did my garage too. I love it.
Save money by getting pre-approved for your next auto loan at Coosa Valley Credit Union. We offer the most competitive interest rates in the market, as low as 3.49 APR when you open an account with direct deposit. This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union, inviting you to stop in a branch near you. You'll experience kinder banking with real people, not automation. Plus, with 11 locations in Northwest Georgia, we're always local and nearby.
Contact 706-235-8551 for more details. Equal Opportunity Lender.
The foods we eat can be downright bad for our health. This is Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've been teaching the truth about real bread. Not the stuff you buy at the store. I'm talking real bread made with freshly milled flour. When you buy bread from the store, take a look at the ingredients. Enriched flour means that the nutritious bran and germ has been removed to improve the shelf life. Then a few B vitamins and iron are added back to replace the multitude of nutrients lost. That's not enrichment in my book. And today, that label may even read contains bioengineered food ingredients. Food should never be bioengineered. At Bread Beckers in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real bread loaded with fiber and nutrients. A delicious, healthy, affordable solution that can improve your health and change your life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
New crash in Cobb County on the very narrow left shoulder, 285 southbound, the outer loop, South Cobb Drive, exit 15. Expect some delays there. Elsewhere, we've had that construction. I think it's gone into Cab, 20 eastbound before Panola Road, exit 71. And still slow into downtown, heading south from the 85-400 merge down past 17th Street. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards, tracking temperatures climbing to the mid to upper 80s through this weekend.
73 in East Point, 74 in Duluth, 75 in Milton. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, even when it isn't popular. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Hey there, welcome. It's Eric Erickson here. I've got breaking news for you, unfortunately, that I've got to deliver to you. There are now 6 hospitalized in the FSU shooting. 1 is in critical condition. Law enforcement sources are telling WFTV Channel 9 in Tallahassee 5 people have been killed, 4 others were injured, 6 people hospitalized, and there were 2 shooters. 2 shooters. 1 is in custody, the other is dead. This is a developing story. I don't have a lot of information, and I am trying to get information. But according to WFTV, that is the source, they're down in Florida. 6 people have been hospitalized. 1 is in critical condition. There are 5 dead, 4 injured in this situation. Law enforcement tells Channel 9 News, Eyewitness News, that there were 2 shooters. 1 is in custody and the other is dead. We're probably not going to get major additional developments on the story in the next 20 minutes while I'm on air, but you're going to want to stay tuned to this. It is a very wild story that there do appear to be 2 shooters according to local news. Now, you should also know that not everybody is picking up the 2 shooters. This is the CNN report. At least 6 people were injured in this mass shooting. According to hospital sources, all 6 patients have suffered gunshot wounds. 5 are serious, according to Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare, reporting to CNN. A suspect is in custody, according to 2 law enforcement sources with direct knowledge of the situation. The extent of the injuries is unclear. FSU Alert, the university's emergency notification system, warned of the active shooter, that police were responsible. Students were escorted with their hands in the air away from the situation. There are, again, conflicting reports right now. Local television in Florida is reporting there were 2 shooters, not 1. National outlets are not yet reporting that there were 2 shooters. So keep your eyes on the story. That, honestly, I wish I could give you more than what I'm seeing from the wire reports right now, but I did want to bring you the latest on this situation at Florida State University as the story is developing. There are now reports of fatalities coming across the wire there. Sad situation here right before Easter as classes are winding down for the year as well. Now, before I get into phone calls, and my apologies to those of you on the phone with all the breaking news situation, there's another breaking news story that I need to bring you, and I want to play you the Fox News audio on this one. This actually kind of blew my mind that this situation happened. This is Fox News reporting.
A former FAA contractor has pleaded guilty to spying for Iran. The naturalized U.S. citizen living in Virginia was working for the government between 2017 and 2024, despite the fact that he previously served in the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. Court documents show he sent private information on the U.S. aviation and solar energy industries to Iranian intelligence operatives. He now faces a maximum of 15 years in prison.
Is that not the wildest thing you've heard? A naturalized U.S. citizen in Great Falls, Virginia. His name is Abuzar Ramadi, 42 years old, pleaded guilty to conspiring to act and acting as an agent of the Iranian government inside the United States without prior notification to the Attorney General. He was in the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. He was a first lieutenant. It's a branch of the Iranian Armed Forces. Is considered a terrorist entity. How the hell did a guy who worked for a designated terrorist group become a naturalized U.S. citizen? He was working for Iranian intelligence. He communicated with Iranian authorities using a cover story to hide his conduct. He obtained employment with an FAA contractor that had access to sensitive, non-public information about the U.S. aviation sector, and he obtained and provided open source and non-public materials about the solar energy industry in the U.S., according to intelligence officers. The Department of Justice says Ramadi offered his services to Iran in August of 2017 through a former colleague who was a senior Iranian government official who previously worked at the country's Ministry of Intelligence and Security. He traveled to Iran 4 months later and met with intelligence operatives and government officials. He agreed to gather and provide Iranian officials with information on the solar industry in the U.S. When he returned to the U.S. in early 2018, Ramadi obtained private and open source materials related to the solar industry and provided them to Iran's Vice President for Science and Technology. While working as an FAA contractor, Ramadi downloaded 175 gigabytes of files, including sensitive access-controlled FAA documents related to the National Aerospace System, the Airport Surveillance Radar System, and radio frequencies used inside the United States for aviation. He stored the files on removable media he took to Iran in April of 2022 and provided to government officials. This is absurd. How did this man become a naturalized American? How did this man do this? And this gets to something else. By the way, a buddy of mine, Fred, he's texting me about the story, and I'm glad he did because I wanted to get to it. And then we had all the other breaking news between Google and the shooting in Florida. But so Fred medically diagnosed ADHD and can't get his pilot's license. He wants it, but you can get it, but it's a burdensome process. If you are medically certified ADHD on medication, it is a difficult process to get your FAA pilot's license. This guy has worked for an Iranian designated terrorist group and was able to become an FAA contractor. How the heck did this happen? Several friends of mine, a buddy in particular, but then several others have mentioned this as well, that the weak link in the government is not government employees, it's the outside contractors. It's the outside contractors who are the wokes. It's the outside contractors that have the national security concerns. It's the outside contractors who are the weak link. Remember down in Florida, the FEMA contractor, the FEMA manager who told FEMA employees not to go to houses that had Trump signs in the yards? That woman actually worked for an outside entity, was a contractor with the government. Time and time again, it's the wokes in the outside agencies who are the problem, and that's where DOJ has really needed to function. And this is wild to me. This guy did not work for the FAA. He worked for a contracting company for the FAA. It's just absurd to me that we have an Iranian spy who worked for a designated terrorist group who became a naturalized American citizen. Good gracious. I wonder who he voted for in the election. He was a naturalized citizen. He could vote. I wonder who he voted for. My suspicion is it's not for the present guy. To the phones we go. AJ, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show. AJ, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How about you, Ed?
I'm good. What's going on?
Yeah, it seems like it's a bit petty to discuss this now with all the stuff that's going on in the news.
I'm sorry. That's bad on my part, but I still wanted to get to you.
All good. I appreciate it. So, these folks that are in the survey that are claiming atheism and yet believing in an afterlife, I mean, that's kind of it's I am an atheist, and I know that clashes views with most of the audience here, but I do agree on pretty much everything day to day that you and the folks that support you, and everything is basically simpatico, other than the belief in what happens when you die or whatever. I mean, to say that you believe in an afterlife, that's not atheism. So they're not an atheist. I mean, by definition.
Okay, so AJ, so I'm glad you called because I actually have a theory on what this is. You know how an independent voter is actually a Republican who's embarrassed by the Republican Party? I mean, that actually,
vote Republican.
Yeah, that definitionally is actually independent vote. Moderate voters are Democrats embarrassed by the Democratic Party. Independent voters are Republicans embarrassed by the Republican Party. I kind of think the atheist who believes in the afterlife is probably a Christian who's embarrassed by, those stupid little videos about kids playing with dinosaurs.
Exactly. Well put.
Yes, that's my personal theory. I don't know. Although I know a couple people who they don't believe in God. They just have this vague idea there's something more, and they call themselves an atheist. And I just think there's no word for it. I would say they should probably use agnostic, but yeah, I think that's it. Now I want people to know. You all hear AJ here. He listens to the show. He's an atheist. He tends to agree, but he listens. My show is open to everyone. You are all welcome, except that one low IQ guy who hate mails all the time. You're not welcome here, but the rest of you. AJ, thank you for calling in. Nonetheless, I still wish you a happy Easter weekend.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for listening, AJ. I really do appreciate it. You might not like tomorrow's show, but it's a Good Friday show. I got to, Tim Keller was always loved talking to non-believers. And part of it is I think that non-believers always ask the more interesting questions. But Tim was a guy who, there are Christians who hate Tim Keller, and it's hard for me to believe, but it tends to be what you find when you encounter a Christian who really hated Tim Keller was politics. They brought themselves to not liking because of politics, and he was always such a great guy to deal with because he did such a good job of answering the questions of people who didn't believe. And it wasn't his idea to just force them to convert or somehow. Just he wanted to sincerely answer questions because a lot of people have those questions. He was far better at it than most people out there. Brad, you're going to be next on the show. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
Hey, I twist atheists up with this, discussing it online all the time. So according to Stephen Hawking's book, A Brief History of Time, he explains the Big Bang Theory. And what he says is that an infinitely hot, infinitely small, infinitely dense dot suspended in an infinite nothing for an infinite period of time, one day, for no particular reason, went bang, and there was everything. And atheists point to that and say, yeah, that's it, we can prove it and everything. And then I point out that that's our story. They just rewrote it and changed the main character.
Look, yeah, there's some. So, but Brad, I gotta confess something. When you started this, Stephen Hawking's writing about the Big Bang Theory, I thought this was going to be about Epstein's Island.
No, and that's probably more of a Little Bang.
I'm sorry, I had to go there. Though the Stephen Hawking memes over Epstein's Island and the midgets is just.
I know.
Yeah, I shouldn't. I'm sorry. I apologize. But yeah, Brad, good point. So a buddy of mine, a seminary professor of mine, actually says it makes atheists really mad that he says that. I mean, they can go all the way back to the Big Bang, but they can't go back any further, and he can. And they're like, well, it's by faith. And he's like, your theory of the multiverse is by faith. Your theory of what was before the Big Bang is by faith. And his point is really just to point out that everybody, even atheists, have beliefs by faith that something was there. And
well, that's exactly it. They all take their belief systems by faith. And they tell us that's the way to do it. And then they point to mathematics. And I'm like, well, are you a physicist or an astrophysicist? Because if not, then you're just taking it on faith what those priests are telling you.
Well, and
mathematics.
I had a seminary professor who had been a physicist in a former life. He's like, there is entirely a possible mathematical equation for a dimension through which someone could die and come back. So it's all there in the math.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
I'd love to read that.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering if it was so he started drafting. None of us were math people, to be honest with you, but he makes a very compelling case. He had been an atheist and a physicist and converted reading John Stott's Basic Christianity, and it switched from being a physicist to getting a doctorate in theology, and just was an interesting guy. But I got to leave you there because they're giving me the signal. I got to go to commercial break. But yeah, I could talk about that all day. But at the end of the day, everybody has beliefs by faith. The question is, do you have evidence for those beliefs? A lot of people say Christians have no evidence, but actually there is more written about Jesus closer in time to his life than there was about Julius Caesar or even Nero. I mean, take the history of the Gallic campaigns from Julius Caesar. Nobody doubts that it's true, but the earliest copy we have was written 950 years after the Gallic campaign. We've got actually copies of the New Testament written within 100 years of Christ's life. And people are like, well, I mean, you gotta get rid of those. Why do we have to? We got stuff written closer to Christ's life about Christ than we have about Nero. I mean, all that stuff was destroyed after Nero, and the more recent stuff we have is like 500 years after Nero's life. We have all these documentation of his life and the stories of his life, but why can we believe the ones about Nero, not Jesus? Well, because if you make an extraordinary claim, you need extraordinary evidence. I mean, the extraordinary evidence is 2,000 years later, you got 2.9 billion people on planet Earth worshiping a guy. Pretty extraordinary evidence. Something happened because nobody else can have that said about themselves. Now, we got to talk about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm because you can get 3 of them right now and save $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is Eric3 at EdenPureDeals.com. And it is a marvelous little device. It pulls in the air, and you can hold this thing in the palm of your hand, by the way. You can hold it in your hand, it pulls in the air, it generates plasma, wiping out all the 99.9% of bacteria and viruses. It traps the pet dander, the dust, and the pollen, And then it, on the other side, not just pushes out fresh air, but also ozone that then touches all the ionized particulate in the air you call odors and wipes out the odors. No odor can stand up to it. It's great. It wipes out smoke odors, litter box odors, pet odors, frying in the kitchen odors. I cooked garlic and shrimp in the kitchen, and my wife will get sick if she smells it, and so I got to fire up the Eden Pure Thunderstorm odors. It wipes them all out. Get 3 of them, upstairs, downstairs, your basement, your travel bag, your RV. You can hold this thing in your hand. You can plug it in with a USB cord to a USB outlet. You can plug it into the wall. Very portable, and it works. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3. So, you know what? That's the wrong soundboard. Here it is.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
251 Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Crash that was in the left lane quickly moved to the right shoulder in Cobb. 285 southbound, the outer loop, South Cobb Drive, exit 15. So everything back open there, moving pretty well. Traveling into Midtown and downtown, it is already very slow out of Buckhead on 400 southbound, leaving Lenox Road. For the ride into Midtown northbound, you're seeing the delays 75, 85 north from University Avenue up to Freedom Parkway. Traffic brought to you by Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag. The Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is the best deal in fast food for a lot of reasons, some of which include a JBC, 4-piece nugs, junior fries, and a small soft drink. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's. U.S. price and participation may vary. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Friday on Atlanta's Morning News, the Easter weekend forecast. Will the markets lay another egg? And Clark Howard on something a lot of us are still feeling after COVID on WSB.
Hi, I'm David Nicholas, financial advisor and president of Nicholas Wealth Management. It's hard to imagine, but one day in retirement, your income will stop. You may have been working for 30 or 40 years, but now you'll have to depend on the money you've saved for the next 30 years. How do you know if you've saved enough? What does it mean to spend confidently in retirement? One of the worst things that you can do is get to retirement and not know how much income your investments can produce. At Nicholas Wealth, we created a plan that will show you what your investments can potentially generate in dividends, interest, and growth in retirement. We call this our Spend Confidently plan. When's the best time to turn on Social Security? What are some of the best dividend-paying stocks available? Our CPAs and CFPs will show you what your income number is and how a diversified portfolio of income-producing investments could potentially provide you consistent monthly income. Our Retire Ready Income Report is a $1,000 value. We'll provide it completely complimentary if you've saved more than $250,000 for retirement and you give us a call in the next 10 minutes. Number to call is 404-890-5606. That's 404-890-5606, or you can go to nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and the needs of any person. This is a paid advertisement.
When you need quality professional tree work, choose Heath Tree Service. Hi, I'm Jimmy Heath. My father started Heath Tree Service over 60 years ago, and we're still family owned. Certified arborists and experts with trees. Find us at heathtreeservice.com.
Our weather is so unpredictable, and your roof takes all the abuse. If it needs repair or replacement, think of Findlay First, the roof guys, the perfect match for any roofing issues. Schedule your free roof analysis at findlayroofing.com. Roof.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Get Eric's daily show prep email. Text DATA to 33777 and you'll be in the know.
Greetings. So as I was leaving to go to commercial break, I played not the outro, but the audio of Jerome Powell that I need to play for you. This is the head of the Federal Reserve.
So the U.S. federal debt is on an unsustainable path. It's not at an unsustainable level, and no one really knows how much further we can go. Other countries over time have gone much farther, but we're now, we're running very large deficits at full employment. And this is a situation that we very much need to address. Sooner or later we'll have to, and sooner is better than later. In terms of, if I can say from my time working on these issues, it's not the Fed's issue, but if you look at a pie chart of federal spending, the biggest parts and the parts that are growing are Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and now interest payments. And so that's really where the work has to be done. And those are issues that can only be touched on a bipartisan basis. Neither party can figure out what to do without both parties being at the table. So that's critical.
He's right. He's probably also the only appointee in Washington these days who is appointed and fits the parameters within Humphrey's executor that is not partisan. And nonetheless, this is from the Wall Street Journal, just hit the wires. President Trump has for months privately discussed firing Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, according to people familiar with the matter, but he hasn't made a final decision about whether to try to oust him before his term ends next year. In meetings at the president's private Florida club Mar-a-Lago, Trump has spoken with Kevin Warsh, a former Fed governor, about potentially firing Powell before his term ends and possibly selecting Warsh to be his replacement. Warsh has advised against firing Powell and has argued that he should let the Fed chair complete his term without interference. The conversation with Warsh carried into February, with others close to the president have spoken with Trump about firing Powell as recently as early March. At a meeting in the Oval Office on Thursday, Trump expressed confidence he has the authority to oust Powell. If I want him out, he'll be out there real fast, believe me. The president added he's not happy with Powell and accused him of playing politics with interest rates. It would be genuinely bad for every portfolio in America, from the working class to the wealthy, if the president fired Powell, because it would introduce major instability in the markets. And I would advise the president to just leave him alone.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
Got to tell you something, when you shop for groceries, when you shop in retail stores, I got to tell you, the owners of those businesses and the sellers of those groceries, they don't know what to do right now because sales are falling because of all the uncertainty with tariffs and all the rest. And their costs for a lot of the goods have gone up. But what you're going to find is prices are going to be, let's call it irregular. It's going to pay more through the rest of this spring, with all the economic uncertainty, to shop around and know prices of both goods and groceries when you go out to shop, to know when something is a real deal and when it's not. It's going to be a harder year to be a consumer this year. Our dollars aren't going to go as far, and we're going to have to work harder to get those savings. I'm Clark Howard.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 3 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top story. It is breaking news. A shooting on the campus of FSU.
CBS News special report. Shots fired at Florida State University in Tallahassee. An active shooter alert went out just after noon. Blake Leonard is a student there and describes what he heard.
Whenever I heard the shots, it was like a couple people running, maybe like 12 or 20 people running out of the direction. And then I looked back and I saw everybody flooding out of the Union and everything.
Multiple people are injured. Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare confirms it has 6 patients with gunshot wounds. CBS's Anna Schechter.
A suspect is in custody and multiple people are being treated at local hospitals. We also learned that police were having to go